Another song for mama, another one for mama, another word for mama, another letter to mama. Me say a million songs for mama, a million plays for mama, a million letters to mama, 'cause your mama song's the best any day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is big. For the first time in the history of 90 Minutes Africa, we are bringing to you a Rastaman. Jahbelowed is joining us. He just returned from Ghana, where he went for the first time in 11 years to see his people. He will tell us things that he saw, how Ghana is searching for her own P2B. Oh, yes. He will tell us about the politics, the culture, and the life of Ghana, Afrobeat and reggae, and the fight over who makes the best jollof rice. Now, as a former staff of Sahara Reporters, he will also tell us what he thinks about Omoyele Sowore's run for president. We see you on Sunday, the 16th of October. Jahbelowed, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ogami.
Wow. It's nice to see you again. What are people going to? What are you going to tell us about on Sunday? What are you talking about on Sunday? What happened?
Oh my God. I went to Ghana, like you said, after a very long time. So some of the things look different. Others remain stubbornly the same.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to talk about. There is a lot that I want to say.
So I cannot wait. But before we close it out and let people come and watch, let's give them a little bit of what you are known for. So, over to you.
Which one is that?
Give them Bob Marley Redemption Song.
Okay, all right.
Redemption Song.
I'm ready when you're ready.
You are ready? Okay, let's go.
My guitar is electric and I don't have the combo.
Don't worry.
I'll sing with you if that's okay.
We got you covered.
And we're doing a duet, aren't we?
Yeah. We're doing it together. Yeah, we're doing it together. Yeah.
Right
So let's see what happens. Okay. All right, take it out. Wow.
Oh, pirate, yes, you are mine. Go back to the merchant ship. Minutes after they become. But my hands was made strong by the hands of the Almighty, empowered in this generation. I am hungry.
Won't you help me sing?
Stop sing that one. Oh, look at you.
These songs of freedom. It's all I
ever had.
Redemption song. The songs of freedom. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy. How long shall they kill our prophets and we stand aside and look? They say it's just a part of it. We got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing?
All African people, the songs of freedom.
Amazing. I mean, for you to enjoy this, you have to join us on Sunday.
She will pray for my protection, mama, for my right to regeneration, mama. She will always pray for me to hell and back. Say my mama do not play, mama. And when I imitate the bad you, mama, she never hesitated and you, mama. But when she whip my butt, she would have cried more than me. Oh, but she win. So today I'm a. we invited you here. And that's why we're showing you all the songs. And that's why, against the advice of some people, we didn't restrict the album to the reggae audience. We brought out everybody so that all the DJs, everybody can decide which ones they like.
Wow. So, Jahbeloved, we see you on Sunday at 11:30 New York time, 4:30 West African time. All right?
Yes.
See you.
Ghana people, tune in, all right?
Yes. Talk to them. Yes. This is big. This is a big show, you know? Talk to them. All right. We'll talk next on Sunday. See you then.
And when I imitated about you, she never hesitated on you. But when she worked in my boss, she would have cried more than food. Oh, Charlie Vanessa, respect, thank you.
I say my song's the best any day. Thank you very much, we love you. And my song's the best any day.
It's Saturday or Sunday, I don't know. For the first time on this show, we can't find our guest. We spoke to him 20 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, but just with the, as you all know, Rastafarians, we don't know what happened. He's not answering his calls. He's not responding to texts. Yes. Unbelievable. But we're going to do the show. Yes. We're going to do the show. We're going to convert the show into something that our audience will have to carry with us. This has never happened before, but we will go on. We will go on with the show. So if you want to join us on the show, please do so. I will share the link, and we talk about all the issues going on. It's weird. We're prepared. We hope he's all right. The guest is all right, and we will have a conversation.
Nigeria needs thinkers and doers. And that is, I'm openly begging Nasir El-Rufai not to run away for additional degree excuse. He's going to Cairo, PhD and everything. There are lots of educated relics. We are not going to let you run away. Your vision, creativity, and resiliency in turning a rotten situation to a bad one is necessary at this critical time. That is why we are here today.
All right. Welcome to the show, James. Welcome.
Hello. Good evening. How do you do?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, we are fine here in the Gambia.
Okay. Declan, welcome to the show. This has never happened that the guest on our show disappeared on us. I hope he's all right. I spoke to him 10 minutes before the show, 30 minutes before the show, and Now he's not responding. No phone calls, no texts. So we don't know what's going on. But we can go on, of course. Declan, you are welcome to the show. James, you're welcome. Let's let's modify what we're talking about. Declan, I know you are traveling across Europe. Where are you?
I'm in Dublin.
Dublin. Okay. Well, can you tell us what took you to Dublin?
So I'm here for work, as well as to meet up with some family members who I haven't seen since before COVID.
Oh, okay. Very good. James, welcome from the Gambia. Let's look at what's going on. James, of course. Declan, you know Nnamdi Kanu.
Very well.
Okay, yeah, those days. Did you hear that a judge dropped the charges against him?
I did at the appeal court level.
Yes. What do you think about that?
Look, so I feel like one thing that's underappreciated across Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, is these different kinds of court rulings, and people really need to start peeling back layers to understand, are the rulings from, whether it's an appeals court or a high court or a magistrate's court, are those actually indicating progress? Or are they indicating some kind of retroactive development where Africa or certain African states are moving backwards in terms of progress? But when I see that an appeal court in this particular case ruled that what his charges were either fixed or were not credible, I think that's really interesting. Right now, you can easily say, look, appeal court justices are easy because they're bribed. All they need to do is overrule what the high court says. But look, I don't think that there's a tremendous amount of evidence to suggest that Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist, which is one of the allegations that the Nigerian state has alleged. So I, from this perspective, would see this as kind of democratic progress. And that's how I look at it. It's quite interesting. That's how I see it.
But let me ask you, you know Africa very well, and you travel across Africa. Do you think, one of the questions I had for my guests who were that didn't show up now is, in Ghana, do they have this kind of separatist movement? Because I know Nigeria is not the only country in Africa where there are people who are not happy about the structure of the country and they want to leave. What do you think about that as an option, alternative to where the country is failing?
For Nigeria?
No, Nigeria and other countries in Africa. It's not just Nigeria. Okay. The other countries.
So you know what? This is increasingly not unique to Africa. It's, of course, because the borders of African states were arbitrarily defined, or sometimes deliberately defined by colonial powers to kind of create resentment or issues, or to make them, from an extractive perspective, more governable. And so here we have a post-colonial context with the same, more or less the same borders, and this is a tremendous issue. However, as we're looking at kind of the role of mass media and social media and identity making and consolidation of identity, these problems of belonging under kind of a state, or not to get too nerdy, but a Westphalian context, this is becoming not just an African problem. Look at the United States. I mean, there are at least two, but truly speaking, multiple countries in the United States. Someone from New York who has lived in New York, who understands how New York operates, is not going to understand how to resolve problems in a similar way to somebody from Iowa or Idaho or Nebraska. These are two completely different social situations. And as time goes on for the United States or for Nigeria or for a number of other countries in Africa, these do not look like the same places, and the people in them don't approach problems in the same way. So yeah, this is a big issue in Africa, but increasingly this is a problem across the world.
James, I'll come to you next, but let me explore this more. I was telling my students that if America goes down, I mean, I'm talking about 50 years from now, if America is no longer the top country in the world, that people in Texas, California might move to break away from the United States. It's not far-fetched that over time, you might even have the Confederates, the people in the South, bring back their hope.
So I get where that's coming from, but I think that there's a lot of distance between where we are now and a situation where we start having states in the United States breaking away. I think there's an enormous amount of landscape there. What I think is more realistic is that we start revising, this is speaking specifically about the United States, but I think it applies to Nigeria as well. We start revising what our notion of a federal state looks like. So I think, and I've argued in other forums, that one of the most powerful people in the next 30 to 50 years are going to be city mayors. Like, why should New York City or the city of Sacramento not have a foreign policy? Why should they not? Why should they say, look, we'll allow foreign trade and commerce and decisions around immigration to be decided in Washington, D.C., when they can say, hey, look, we've got millions of people. We have an economy in a city which is greater than some countries in the world. Why should we not begin to think more dynamically about this city? And I think that mayors or state governors are going to be much more significant as we move in the future, and that we're going to have the presidency of the United States, or I think arguably in this case in Nigeria, begin to get relegated to a more ceremonial role, while other fiefdoms and communities start being more powerful.
Thank you, Declan. James, you were with us yesterday, and we talked about Nnamdi Kanu extensively.
Yeah.
Did you notice any change? I think at this point, most people have come to realize that he's not released, and it may not happen anytime soon. So, is there any change in your position since yesterday?
Not quite. I still believe that a lot of things are happening behind the scene, unknown to people, as usual. The courts have ruled that he has no case to answer. And by implication, he should be released by now. But for certain important reasons known to the authorities, he's still being held in custody. We will not be able to know the details of this matter. We will never know the details of this matter, what is going on behind the scene. As I was trying to explain yesterday, the courts might be seen to be doing their job constitutionally, but in actual fact, a lot of things are shaping their opinions unknown to us. Because if a judge is bent on freeing a suspect, there's absolutely nothing anybody can do. It's just a question of pronouncing the judgment, and that's all. And also, if a judge is hell-bent on convicting a suspect, there's nothing you can do about it. No matter the mountain of evidence adduced, he will just pronounce that he's guilty. Even if the judgment is irrational or not, it means nothing to him. So if the lower court is unable to take this decision they've taken in the appeal court, what went wrong in the lower court? Why were they unable to take this decision? Because the evidence is glaring. This guy was adopted from Kenya. And for being adopted, we expect the lower court to see clearly, because anybody admitted to the Nigerian bench is assumed to be well-grounded in the law. And for somebody who is assumed to be well-grounded in the law to rule that Nnamdi has a case to answer, it means something went wrong in the lower court. Now, the election is coming. It's just by the corner, and they are releasing him. So this is why yesterday I compared this situation with what happened to Dumegwu Ojukwu when he was pardoned to return from Ivory Coast on the eve of an election, in order for the ruling party to use it to get votes. This is exactly what I'm seeing here. If they will succeed or not, that's a different matter. But their intention is political. They want to use him to obstruct Peter Obi from becoming president. This is how I'm still seeing it since yesterday.
All right. We found our guest. Finally, our guest is here. So we are going to. I'll ask that you hang in there. Let's bring the guest in and then have a conversation with him. After that, we will give you the chance to also join us and question him. So let's go straight and get our guest in, but I think it's proper to do a proper introduction of the guest. So let's do this.
Anytime, one more time. And my songs the best. Rasta. One more version, long team.
Listen, Mama, she will pray for my protection.
Everybody, mama, what you want?
That's what you want to do. Respond for your mother. Respond for your mother. If you value your mother, just go with that. Just say, Mama, she will pray for my protection. Mama, from her voice to reach the nation. Mama, she will always cry for me. To my say my mother do not play. Mama, and when I imitate the value, Mama, she never hesitated and used. Mama, but when she worked in my boss, she would have cried more than food. Oh, Charlie, man, this is respect. Thank you.
Hello. The Ugandan government has ordered a 3-week lockdown of 2 districts in an effort to contain an Ebola outbreak. The districts involved are the Mubende and Kasanda districts. The decision to lock down was a U-turn for President Yoweri Museveni, who initially insisted that lockdowns were not needed to deal with Ebola. Bars, nightclubs, places of worship, and entertainment venues are all closed in the districts. The government also halted movements in and out of those areas. The latest outbreak, which started in September, has killed 19 people with over 58 cases on record. In Tunisia, thousands of protesters have taken to the streets of the capital, Tunis, against the president. Several political movements were on the streets denouncing President Kais Saied. They called him an autocrat and accused him of reversing the gains made since the 2011 uprising. In July 2021, the president sacked the prime minister and suspended parliament. The protesters were also complaining about the country's rising cost of food and fuel. In Nigeria, the appeals court sitting in our capital, Abuja, has dropped charges against Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The court ruled that his arrest in Kenya and extradition to Nigeria were illegal. The ruling was a blow to the Nigerian government headed by Muhammadu Buhari. However, the government of Buhari insisted that Kanu was only discharged and not acquitted. The Nigerian Attorney General Malami vows to explore other legal options. The prospects of releasing Nnamdi Kanu 5 months before Nigeria's 2023 elections have rattled the Nigerian political space. It is 11:30 a.m. in New York City, 4:30 p.m. in Nigeria, 6:30 p.m. in Uganda, and 4:30 p.m. in Tunisia. Wherever in the world you're watching us, welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes Africa. I am Rudolph Okonkwo. My co-host, Chido Onoma, is on assignment. On our show today, we have a Rasta man from Ghana joining us. Jahbelowed Kwesi Bako is a music artist, producer, and journalist who just returned from Ghana. He will share with us the things he discovered about Ghana's politics, culture, and lifestyle after being absent for over 11 years. As a former staff of Sahara TV, he will tell us what he thinks of Omoyole Sowore's run for president in Nigeria's 2023 elections? Beloved, Jahbelowed. Kwesi, the beloved Jahbelowed.
Rudolph, my Oga Okonko, thank you very much for
wow.
the show.
Wow, welcome. What happened? We were looking for you.
Oga, now wow, family matters.
You know, Rastafarians. I know. Maybe you know,
That too.
They
That-
did this, and then it went over, and then
That's true. It's legal in New York.
I mean, it's allowed. I mean, this is New York, In Africa, no, but in New York, we understand. So, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you.
So, you just returned from Ghana, and we want you to share your experiences about Ghana. But first of all, this is show for Africans, and Africans from everywhere, they are watching. And when you think about Africa, I know you started as a journalist and you do several things. What is the common trend? What do you see when you look at Africa today?
I see a patchwork. I don't see one flat surface. I don't see one level. I don't see one color. I don't see one single energy, a force, anything like that. Africa cannot be, described as a unit in any terms that you can imagine right now, the way I see it. If you look at places like Rwanda, at least from the reports that we've been getting, you can see that there's some serious progress going on in terms of infrastructure, in terms of even the mindset that the people live with, their pride as a people, all of that. Now, when you see other places, not so much like that. You see certain places where you can pinpoint leaders who are showing some selflessness, towards governing their people. And you look at other places where all you see is corruption and greed, So it's hard to paint Africa with one brush. But like I said, I see a patchwork of different synergies going on.
But when you look at the so-called giant of Africa, Nigeria, preparing for election next year, what do you see?
It's interesting. It's very interesting because I've witnessed many Nigerian elections in my day, as you can tell from a gray beard, But this one seems very interesting in the sense that from being in Ghana, I realized that the Ghanaian youth are very interested in the Ghanaian politics. I hadn't seen that earlier in my experience. Now, a lot of Ghanaian youth know who Peter Obi is through social media and stuff like that, but not just because people make memes of them to make fun of them and stuff like that. Also because people are actually looking at these figures, comparing them to their own politicians. Because the Ghanaian youth of today is very, very, very alert to what's going on politically. The Ghanaian youth of today is very, very, very awake to what is going on politically. But yeah, that's what I see. I see them having an interest in the sub-region as well, especially in Nigeria, who are our first cousins.
Now, how is the politics in Ghana going? Is it going good? People compare Nigeria to Ghana, and they always say that Nigeria should learn from Ghana, that Ghana is stable and economic. What's going on in Ghana?
Do you want the long answer or the short answer?
The short one. Then we can expand on it.
The short answer is no. It's not going well at all. At all.
What's wrong in Ghana?
Everything is wrong in Ghana, Rudolph. I remember when we used to be at Sahara Reporters, when you guys came back from Nigeria. I remember one time Olu Faloya or somebody like that came from Nigeria, and he was rolling over on the floor over the airport in Accra. You could see tangible things that people could point to and be like, oh, Ghana is like this and Ghana is like that. Let's put the infrastructure and the physical things that you could see aside. In our day, I'm talking about when I started practicing as a journalist, Ghana used to be termed the beacon of press freedom. Even in Sahara, we used to use those terms. Ghana was seen as the beacon of press freedom and even civil rights, civil freedoms. Today, I was about to drop an S-bomb, Rudolph. It's not good in Ghana because just a couple of days ago, a chief who was speaking against illegal mining was attacked. He actually escaped the attack, but his cousin was butchered because he spoke against illegal mining. And the suspect who sent them is supposed to be somebody in government. And that is just one example of many others that are going on. Rudolph, how does a government who is fighting illegal mining seize 500 excavators and decide to burn them? Who does that? Why do you even burn excavators? It's not even good for the environment. But that said, Ghana needs money to buy equipment to do projects. So if you have seized this equipment, at least keep them somewhere. These people whose equipment have been seized will come and sue the government at some point, and they have to pay money again. Like Ghana is going like nobody's in charge. The president seems disinterested in running the government right now. He hasn't given a speech. I don't remember the last time he had a press conference. He only speaks when he's outside the country.
Now, what about this economic downturn that we see downturn in across the world? You know, with inflation and other things. How is it playing out in Ghana?
So that's the big excuse that they have, right? Everything that you mentioned is wrong with the country. They are quick to point to two things: Ukraine, Russia war, as laughable as that is, and COVID, right? Everybody, every economy in the world will be impacted by these same things. And I don't even know how Ghana is impacted directly by the war in Ukraine and Russia, except for wheat. I don't even see how much bread we eat, you know, but I'm just saying that every country will go through these same things. If you look at our neighbors, if you look at Cote d'Ivoire, if you look at Burkina Faso, if you look at even Nigeria, the numbers compared to Ghana's numbers, it's just miserable in any aspect that you look at it. You know, Rudolph. So it's not not going well, to be honest with you. It's not going well in Ghana right now.
What about corruption? Because
and the other agencies have downgraded Ghana from B- to CCC. $1 is 12 cedis now. In 2016, before this government took over, $1 was 3 cedis and change. Let's say 4 cedis. The dollar is almost 12 cedis now in 6 years. That should tell you.
You can't compare that to the naira anyway. But let me ask you about inflation. No. Inflation. You talk about that, but no. Let's think about corruption. Yeah, how is that going? Is Ghana, because we seem to point out corruption and cases of corruption in Nigeria.
Rudolph, I think corruption is the reason why Ghana is not working right now. Personally, I think that the president, who spent a lot of time running for president, not a lot of years running for president, probably took too many favors from people. That's just my personal look at it. And so for now, there are lots of people who are in government doing corrupt stuff that he can hardly speak about. Also, he himself, can we say much for him? Hey, there's a video of the president taking money from some person. This is a video no lie. If the video they lie, me too, I they lie. You know, but this is a video where and it comes with audio, and they say, oh yeah, Mao Bibi Kakra, i.e. we brought you something small, and then he stretches his hands out and takes the money. It cuts a very bad picture. At the very least, send your people out to go and clean up the mess. Explain if it's a misconception, send people out to say, hey, listen, this was the scenario, right? But the president does not even care to clean up stuff like that.
Did this happen
we have accepted the corruption? Like
did it happen while he was president? Or
yes, just a couple years ago. He's still president right now. Yes. Yes. And so now Ghanaians are like, you are either trying to be part of the corruption and take yours and run, or you are sitting helplessly waiting for the government to change. Basically, it's what's happening from being in Ghana. This is what I saw. People are not interested in a violent overthrow of the government. That's my read from being there. Nobody's interested in that, right? But people are just like on their knees praying for this government to go away. Like people wish they could sleep and wake up and this government was gone.
But last 4 years ago, they voted out the other government and brought this one, you know. And
great question.
What happened? Was that an error? Yeah.
Great question. And at the mercy of the courts of Ghana, I'm going to speak my mind, because this is what happened. I've never seen an election where the Electoral Commission does not have actual figures yet declares a winner. Because we're all here when we saw the chairperson of the EC come and give numbers, come back and change it, come back a third time and change it, and still did not tally the numbers. Still went ahead to declare this president. Based on what we don't know. There is a constituency in Ghana, Sal, I think it's actually 2 or 3 constituencies, that did not vote at all. These people have been disenfranchised till today. They pay taxes. They are Ghanaians. They were not allowed to vote. Maybe their vote would have turned it, who knows? The EC did a shoddy job of the elections. Most people believe that this president did not win the election. And personally, like I'm saying, based on the fact that the EC did not even have actual numbers to report the elections on, I'm not convinced that he won the election. But when for the sake of peace, whatever, they let him be the president.
When is the next election, and what are in what?
In 2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
Are there people thinking about doing something different or going for a third party? We see in other countries like in Lesotho, yes, they came up with a new party and the person won. We saw in Kenya, for instance, the vice president had to go and form a new party and use it to win. So what are people in Ghana thinking about?
That's not going to work in Ghana, and I'll tell you why. The two parties, NPP and NDC, are very, very entrenched. They are so heavily entrenched that people hardly see any other party. You know, everybody thinks these are the only 2 viable options. And the country is kind of split down the middle among these two parties. The other reason why, the main reason why it would not work is that some smaller parties were given a chance, but we saw them align with the bigger parties, right? For instance, there's this guy, Akalu, I think his name is, I forget what his party is called, one of the smaller parties. Practically was just like a spokesperson for the government. Like he was, it looks to me, from where I sit, it looks to me as if his party was set up to go in there and get part of whatever cake the EC is sharing, but bring it to serve the bigger party. And it's not exclusive to him. I'm sure there are other smaller parties that are also, you know, doing the same for the opposition party, you know. So they've spoiled their name, so to speak in Ghanaian parlance. They spoiled their name. They cannot, people don't trust them like that. People don't trust that these people will actually, you know, go take the fight. That's why we cannot have a Peter Obi in Ghana, sadly, you know. But let me say that currently, Ghanaians are looking at the former president to be their Peter Obi because he has been in government before. His time is when we saw the airport that Olufaloye was rolling on the floor about. His time, we went to IMF, all right, and I was livid about that. You remember from Sarah reporters when Ghana had to go to the IMF after we had struck oil. I was very upset with the Mahama government about that. But I come to realize that he at least had things to show for the monies that he was, you know, and I'm not his spokesperson. I'm not going to say he did everything excellent. Like I said just a while ago, he did things that I did not agree with. But Ghanaians had press freedom. Ghanaians had civil liberties. There was some, you know.
So is Mahama now like Nigeria's own Goodluck Jonathan? That is, after he left office, people now felt that he was a lot better than.
But this is better than Goodluck Jonathan. I can tell you that. This is better than Goodluck Jonathan in the sense that Ghanaians are actually craving for Mahama to come back. It's very likely that he, if he positions himself properly, can win the 2024 elections. And because he only served 1 term, he qualifies to run again. So he can go for another 4 years. And most Ghanaians, after seeing what he did, because it's so recent, and comparing it with what this government is doing, it puts him in a very good light. You know, it puts him in a very good light.
All right. For those who are watching, in another 10 minutes, we are going to bring you in so that you can ask Jahbelowed questions and join this conversation. Let's talk about Omoyele Sowore. You worked for him at Sahara, and he's running for president in Nigeria. Well, what do you think about his effort?
Okay, so just his effort, or
I mean, he's trying to be president.
Let me say something small about Sowore before I answer that question. I was in Australia when I first saw a video of him. It was this video where he was resisting some governor or so who had come to New York to speak, and he went and took the mic and I was like, damn. I was like, this is the person that this is my man. So when I came to New York and came to work at Sahara, I had no idea that he was the boss, right? He was in Nigeria at the time. When he came back, he was sitting I was sitting right next to him without even knowing he was the boss either, until somebody introduced me to him,
Who hired you? How did you end up at Sahara then?
David.
Okay, David
Miskis,
yeah.
And Sami Amakri interviewed me.
Okay.
David Miskis and Sami Amakri. So David introduced me to him, and I was like, oh, and then I saw him, like, yo, that's the guy I saw, So that's how starstruck I was with him, from those times. Now, I think that when he switched from being a journalist to being a politician, he lost it with some people. Maybe he didn't transition properly, I don't know. But transferring his ideas as a revolutionary into his practice as a politician, I think he probably didn't get that too right, because he's not making as much of an impact as I thought he would, being that he was such a vibrant person. He was such a revolutionary. He had such great ideas about transforming Nigeria. That said, I can only say that because I know that Nigerians have their own telelenses that they use to look at who they want to lead them, So I'm sure that Nigerians will make the best choice that they think is good for them.
Mm. All right. You transitioned to become a musician. You've released an album. How did that happen? I know you used to play, but how did that become primary? What else do you do? Yeah, because it appears that you also produce TV shows.
Yes, we have a YouTube channel and a website that goes with it. It's called ghnewsnow.com, www.ghnewsnow.com. I have a vegan show, so I'm vegan, right? And I'm also African, obviously. So I have a cook show on YouTube where what I do is I try to copy African dishes into a vegan format. That is, I can take, say, pomo, for instance, right? And make a vegan version of pomo. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole idea. I have fufu, and then sometimes I invite people from other African countries to come and share recipes. Sometimes we even go outside of Africa and share recipes which are vegan that we can adapt into our own settings, like that. I have that. And like you said, I'm also producing music. I'm doing a lot of music promotion and production in Ghana right now. And stuff like that. We also have Radio Culture. That's where I am right now. It's an online radio where we play. It's practically Afro-centric. So we play jazz, we play reggae, we play or any music that's connected to the motherland. We play it. And then we also have serious programs. We talk among ourselves, not over ourselves. We talk to ourselves, Africans home and abroad. This is a platform for that type of thing. So yeah, that's what I mean.
Let's take a look at this you in Ghana, and then we'll come back.
That's why we invited you here, and that's why we're showing you all the songs, and that's why, against the advice of some people, we didn't restrict the album to the reggae audience. We brought out everybody so that all the DJs, everybody can decide which ones they like. Because if you listen carefully, not all the songs are hardcore reggae, So some DJs might want to promote the mother song, some DJs might want to. I love Sign Away, but I know everybody has a different vibe, so I'll leave that, like I said, to the DJ to decide. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Was a mama song's the best any day. Now it goes something like this. Sing. When I wake up in the morning, my mom is here. Before my early morning yawning, my mom is here. And when I couldn't read and write, my mom was there. And when I sick, cooking the tight, my mom was there. And when the girls broke my heart, my mom was there. And when my pop worshiping now, my mom was there. But when the pop needed the queen, my mom was there. And when the twat ran away, my mom was there. See, she saved my future from my past. My mom said, Goddess, I want to put her on blast, but my mom is honest. Because no matter how I feel, I say a mama song's the best any day. Every time, one more time. And my songs the best. Rast. One more version,
Listen, mama, she will pray for my protection.
Everybody, mama,
I love you. That's what you want to do. Respond for your mother. Respond for your mother. If you value your mother, just go with that. Just say, mom.
All right. So, what do you think about in the African music scene? We have Afrobeat. You with the reggae.
Oh my God, Afrobeat is killing it right now, Rudolph. Afrobeat is killing it, and salute Nigeria for that. You know, nobody can take it away from Nigeria. Salute Nigeria. Listen, the whole entire continent. If we have a lot of things to learn from Nigeria, but the entertainment thing is the first thing that I would say that we really can take a lot of cues from Nigeria. If you go to the nightclub in New York right now, they are blasting Nigerian music. If you turn on any radio worth its while in New York right now, right? Like sometimes I'm driving and I'm listening to the radio. You turn on the radio, you're listening to a playlist. There's at least 2 or 3 Niger songs in there. You change to the next one, there's another 2 or 3, you know? And they've actually started the revolution. All Africans take the credit for Afrobeats, but truth of the matter is that Niger heads that pack, you know? And again, on the flight to Africa, you go on Netflix, you go on wherever, or you even go on the pack, you know, that they give you, the entertainment pack that they give you on the flight. Most of the videos that you see there, most of the movies you see are Nollywood movies, right? So whether it's music or the movies, Nigeria is kicking butt, you know, and that's what I see. In Ghana right now, that's where people are looking. Even our big stars, they're looking for the Nigerian artists to bust them, as you know, so to speak. So hey, Nigerian artists, me I do. If anybody can bust me, you know, are the way to now.
Now, but do you think that something happened to reggae music after Mandela was released? It appeared that something happened. What
happened to reggae music? I don't think has much to do with Mandela. I think that reggae is going through a transformation right now where it's most of it is losing its spirituality, the original essence of it, right? Reggae, from the original foundation, was music that was connected to Rastafari culture, connected to spirituality, connected to African essence, all of that. Right now, reggae is leaning more heavily towards the dancehall, which is talking about everything else. You know, and the songs that are really making it are the ones that are talking about anything but spirituality, you know. So that's what's happening to reggae right now. But I still see a certain strong God, which I'm proud to be one of, who are determined to make sure that reggae does not lose its essence, you know, because you don't have to sing about a Selassie you can sing about football and still make it culturally, you know, applicable to your circumstances. You know, I'll give you an example. There's a song by Maccabee. This guy's called Maccabee, right? And he played a song about when Cameroon went to the World Cup, you know, and Roger Miller and Makanaki. And he did a beautiful song about that. And we could all connect with that, you know, versus singing about women's body parts, you know. Then, you know, we can't play it in the presence of our kids and stuff like that. So that's what I see is happening.
So we are going to bring our audience, but before we do that, Rastafarian lifestyle, what does that entail? And has anything changed over the years after the likes of Bob Marley and Pete Tosh?
Yes. Like everything else, Rasta is going through an evolution. And if you don't realize that, if you don't recognize that, then you are lost. Okay? I see a lot of racists, that's Rasta men and Rasta women, who are stuck in the past because they don't want to acknowledge that the world is changing and you have to adapt to move with it, okay? Because, for instance, if the Bible tells you not to, for instance, eat food from a vine, for instance, and then you live in a place where the only food is yams and, you know, potatoes, you have to do something to adjust. All I'm saying is that Rasta right now has to adapt to face the realities of the day, and I think that most people are doing a good job of that, i.e. Rastas who know themselves are realizing that, okay, this is where Rasta is going right now. But Rasta has also become a thing where now it's become more free. It's become more accepted. Back in my day, There were 3 races on the University of Ghana campus, 3 of us and 1 girl actually. So we stuck out, you know, and it wasn't easy because everybody was watching you all the time. Now you see everybody wearing dreadlocks. You can't even tell the Rasta from just the fashion dreadlocks. You don't know anymore. So personally, again, let me say this, Rudolph. Rasta is a personal vow. So I personally am not even interested in trying to look at what somebody is doing and determining what that entails and if that is Rasta. My personal vow is to live right, to do good for my fellow man, and to keep the vows of the Nazarite. And to me, that's what's important, not to harm other people, but to, you know, be a vessel of good and not evil to other people.
Now, part of that vow is smoking marijuana.
No,
no, is it not?
No, it's not.
Rastafarian? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay,
No.
but I know that when Jimmy Cliff, Peter Tosh, I think when they came to Nigeria, they were arrested for smoking. And knowing that most countries in the world now are making it legal, how does that make you feel? Or I mean, Rastafarians, how do they feel about the people? Like recently, Joe Biden pardoned or said that he's pardoning those people who had federal charges for marijuana. Do you look forward to when African governments?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel vindicated. And let me tell you this, Rudolph. In Ghana, some guy who is very connected to the government and who is in the habit of dropping hints before the government takes major decisions has dropped the hint that government is actually considering legalizing it in Ghana. But if you look at it in fine detail, it's another trick that these politicians want to pull because they want to legalize it, according to what I heard, for so-called medicinal purposes. So it will still be illegal within the country. People will still go to jail for it. People can't sell it and make money. But investors who are most likely going to be their cronies can come in the country, get land, and grow marijuana for export. What kind of nonsense is this, Rudolph? So I said to the people, I said, if you want this to succeed, rope in the people, because if people have the freedom to use it, then you can also grow and export. But if you are doing it and then they are suffering at the other end of it, that's not going to work, you know. But to the substance of the question that you asked me, I feel very elated. I feel like we are, you know, people are beginning to listen to wisdom, because marijuana is a plant, you know. It's just like any other plant. Why is tobacco legal when it has been proven to be an agent of cancer, for instance? But marijuana is not legal. Why is that? Why is it that people can drink alcohol, ogogro, and go and act stupid, but that's legal and you cannot burn your spliff and be in your house? Why is that? People should think, and we shouldn't wait for the West to do this before we Africans say, oh yeah, it's right. That's why countries like, there are a few countries in Africa who are very lenient towards it. And I applaud them because you know why? It's even human rights. It's human rights. Why can somebody eat cabbage and I cannot smoke marijuana? I don't get it.
We also have presidential candidates who have not been successful, but at least they are talking about it. Like in Kenya, there was one who George that was talking about it. In Nigeria, Sowore has been talking about legalizing marijuana. So it may happen.
Keep at it. Don't stop.
It may happen soon. Anyway, we are going to bring our guests. There's our audience member. There's a question here for you from Declan. It was saying, how significant is the role of money in allowing and people deciding the popularity of certain genre of African music, and which nation is dominating? Is Nigeria the trendsetter because there is more money and investment in music production?
Declan, you are 110% correct. Money has a big part. You know, money has a lot to do with it. And Nigeria is not afraid to spend money when it comes to entertainment. From way back. I was managing an artist in Ghana back then. We went to Nigeria to go perform. And that's the first time that I saw a 3-story building that was a nightclub in itself. The whole entire 3-story building was a nightclub. In Ghana, our biggest nightclub at the time was like somebody's living room, so to speak. You know, Nigerians are not afraid when it comes to spending money, and it shows in the results. Nigeria definitely is leading the pack, like I said before, and money, of course, has a lot to do with it.
All right. So we have some of our usual guests. They're here and they want to join the conversation. Maxwell, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rudolph. And the real, the AKA Dr. Damages. Thank you so much.
Maxwell is in Ghana. He's from Ghana, half Ghanaian, half Nigerian. Maxwell, you can ask him a question if you have a question or comment.
Yeah, thank you so much, and good evening from Ghana, and good evening to all our panelists and our listeners all over the world. Jahbelowed, Akwaba,
yeah,
oh, Yadum. Anyway, I would my question to you, I don't think it's related to what is happening, but it affects where my mother comes from and those that trade in Ghana here. What is your position? I know you are a famous man and a celebrity, for sure. And people have come to realize who you are, what you have achieved, and where you're coming from, and where you are going to. Only God knows where you are going to. And I pray that the sky will not even be your limit. My question is this. As a celebrity, what do you have to say about the, Ghana trade law that, segregates, foreigners from doing their business, taking into cognizance the, African trade law that Ghana ratified, which is now in total conflict with our Ghana trade law here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate the question. To be honest with you, I don't know the details, the fine detail of the African trade law, but I know how the Ghana trade law functions, right? Which is to say that foreigners are barred from engaging in mid-level commerce, that is retail business. I don't think that is exclusive to Ghana, to be honest with you. And at the peril of sounding like I know all of it, I'm tempted to think that it's something that is done to protect local businesses. And recently, I'm seeing the wisdom in that because we've seen Chinese immigrants, for instance, venturing into chop bar businesses. That's crazy. If we don't do something to protect local businesses, that's not going to sit right, because investors can come with some money and easily take over a sector, right? It's very easy for 4, 5, 6, Chinese businessmen to come with some amount of money and take over an entire sector. Let me tell you something. Canned tomatoes, for instance. Ghanaians are not making anything from that trade anymore. We're only consuming canned tomatoes. So there are certain things that I feel like government do these things to protect local businesses. So as far as that goes, like I said, I don't have the full picture, but I think that I'm kind of like with the government on that, because we have to protect our small businesses.
Okay, a follow-up, Maxwell. That's one. Unmute yourself, Maxwell.
Okay, Jahbelowed, I think you are conversant with what happened during the ACT, Alien Compliance Act.
Yes.
The late Busia introduced that made forced so many millions of Nigerians traders to abandon their property and head towards Nigeria. And the retaliatory,
action from
Shagari did in 1983.
Yes.
Do you see such thing happening again? Because as I'm talking to you now, these my uncles, my nieces and nephews that comes from Nigeria to trade here, their stores are under lock and key. And you cannot be preaching free trade across this is African free trade or AFTS, whatever they call it, the name is. You cannot be preaching that and at the same time barring people from doing what you feel that can bring Africa together, especially when it comes to trade. Sir, thank you.
I agree with you. I agree totally with you. But like I said again, I think that sometimes every case is exclusive. I don't know what may have led to something like that. But this government also, in particular, is very notorious for doing very unorthodox things. So I'll not be surprised if the case you are talking about is something that is in a situation like that. Because guess what? This government went with a bulldozer and razed down a country's embassy. I forget, it was like Gambia or Mali or something like that. Who does that? As an embassy is
Nigerian embassy. Nigerian embassy. Yeah.
No, it wasn't the well, yeah, it was more than one embassy.
Nigerian embassy and another country's embassy.
Right?
Yeah, there are two of them.
Who even does that? The embassy is supposed to be the country, right? The government gets up and says, "Oh, we need this piece of land to build a cathedral of all things." So we're going to take the land, and then goes and breaks the embassy. Then the embassy, the country sues, and then the government has to go and pay for that. The government is clueless. Clueless. The government, like, we wake up in the morning, and then if somebody slaps us on this side, then we decide to slap them back. If nobody slaps us, then we sit till somebody slaps us. That's how they're running the country right now. No clue.
All right. Thank you. Let's go to Declan. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, so okay, Kwesi. So I wasn't thinking about asking a question, but now I've got one. So with regard to basically screening out people involved in retail commercial activity in Ghana, do you really think that it's because people are worried about Chinese shop owners coming in and pushing it out? I would say, particularly when we look at West Africa, that there's this ungoverned thing called Nigeria, and Nigerians proliferate, and that's perfectly fine. But don't you think that it's a little bit more governed by maybe Ghanaian public fear about Nigerians coming in with more capital and then starting to run things? Or do you think that it's actually quote unquote foreigners, right, from Asia or North America or South America?
I've got two things to say to that. Number one, the law did not start with the advent of the Chinese in the country, right? The law was there before the Chinese started flooding into the country like that. So I don't think it was made with the Chinese in mind. Now, when it comes to Nigerians, we've always had Nigerians investing in Ghana. Always. Always. From when I was a little boy, right? There were these popular stores. They would equate to the mom and pop stores here, right? But almost every city had those. And when you went there, chances are 60% there was a Nigerian woman selling in those stores. And they sold everything. And we had a joke that we made about them, that if you went there and said, "Oh, I want to buy a needle," and they don't sell needles, they'll say, "Oh, I just sold the last one, come back tomorrow." And then they'll go and buy a needle and come and sell it to you the next day. You know, like how industrious they were. We used to have Nigerians were everywhere. After Ghana deported them, unfortunately, and had the retaliatory action, I think both of us screwed our heads on and realized that we are, after all, neighbors, cousins, whatever. We intertrade. Our intertrade is fine. And guess what? Ghana and Nigeria, Ghana's culture is the closest that comes to Ghanaian culture is Nigerian culture. You know, so there's really not been any problem there like that. Besides, Declan, there were Nigerian banks in Ghana. Nigerians who had money were given licenses to set up banks and operate banks in Ghana. So I don't think it has anything to do with Nigeria at all. It's just a general idea to protect local businesses, because that is really an engine of growth in our country.
All right. MC, you're next. Oh, CM, sorry. CM. Can you unmute yourself, CM? Yeah, okay, CM, we don't have audio. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Okay, let's go to James while we figure out what's going on with CM's line. James, go ahead.
Right, thank you. It's very interesting to come across a Rasta man who is, should I say, an erudite Rasta man, because they are well known for music and entertainment. Anyway, let me quickly mention something. This, should I say, idea or habit of protecting local industries started way back, I think, 1970, in the 70s in Nigeria. There was a decree they called the indigenization decree. I think it was promulgated by Yakubu Gowon's administration, making it illegal for non-Nigerians to be involved in distributive trade. I do not know if they enforced the provisions of that decree now or not, That was way back 1977. So it was illegal, let's say, for a foreigner to come and set up a supermarket or any aspect of the distributive network or trade network. If they are interested, they must collaborate with indigents to run that business. That decree has been enforced, but I'm sure it's not been enforced. The erudite Rasta man talked about election problems in Ghana. This is not only a Ghanaian problem, it's an African problem. I still remember reading about Liberia in the year 1927. There was an election between the sitting president, DBC King, and one Thomas Faulkner. During the election, during that period, there were 15,000 registered voters in Liberia. At the end of the election, DBC King scored 229,527 votes, while Faulkner scored 14,473 votes, a total of 234,000 votes in a country with 15,000 registered voters. That was 1927, DBC King and Faulkner. So these outrageous things have been happening. We should not get used to it, but this is the reality. I think the cause of all this nonsense is that this thing called democracy, which we are practicing in Africa, has not been Africanized. In Europe, you have French version of democracy, British version, German version, even the American version, Australian version. But in Africa, there is no country that has come up with African version of democracy. And whenever African governments try to chart their own course, they don't know peace from Western interference. A good example is Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. The CIA overthrew him. Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe did not know peace in his lifetime because of the people who forcibly dispossessed them of their land. Thomas Sankara's case in Burkina Faso is well known. Murtala Mohammed, the day he was killed, the man who killed him, Suka Bukadimka, was at the British High Commission that morning, February 13, 1976. Yahya Jammeh of the Gambia did not know peace. Mengistu Haile Mariam of Ethiopia, Patrice Lumumba, the list is unending. So I think to solve this problem, we just have to do something about this, what these Westerners call democracy or Western imposed democracy. Anyway, let me stop there so far and give other people a chance to talk because I have quite a lot of things to talk about. Thank you very much, Mr. Rudolph.
Thank you. Jahbeloved, do you have
Yes, quick reaction.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you said we shouldn't get used to it. That's the most important thing you said. And then next to that, you said it was 1927. This is 2022. So we should have come way from that, And as bad as it is, I know still every African country has its own, Ghana, still we have our own issues of, but there's an accepted level of, wrong that you can feel like I can go to bed with. If the whole EC, the whole Electoral Commission, who has been tasked to be the referee, comes and reports numbers that don't tally and says, oh, wait, I made a mistake, comes back, reports another number, still doesn't tally, comes back, third time, still doesn't tally, and still goes ahead to install a president. That is next level. So that's worse than what the example you gave, if you ask me.
All right. CM, are you okay? Good.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, CM.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, thank you, Rudolph, and good evening from here, Jahbeloved, and the rest of the crew members. When I listened to you during the interview with Rudolph, I was really sort of depressed about the economic situation you painted about Ghana. Because I have a mentor, I have to say so. If you know Spintex Road, Accra,
yes.
and King David Medical Center, if you mention my name, the owner will jump up. He made me what I am today. So he was formerly in the UK. So I'm always on phone call with him and he keep encouraging me. You see, but what I want to know is that, does it mean that the discovery of oil in Ghana according to John Mahama, I think it was John Mahama's time, who made a popular statement that Ghana will not waste theirs like some other countries did. And what comes to my impression I have about Ghana and public service is that, is it bollocking they call it? He gave to custom officers at a Tema port that they are a disgrace to Ghana by demanding bribe before allowing people to clear their goods. And he felt that when you must have given the service you are paid for, somebody can appreciate it by way of thank you all, but not you demanding it as a condition for you to do your legitimate duty. So that such picture is what I have of Ghana. Does it mean that this crude oil they discovered did not sort of bring Ghana to where it's supposed to? I mean, put Ghana far ahead of what it is now. I mean, the impact of oil on Ghanaian economy. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, I have something to say about that. And I don't want to paint a totally bleak picture because I think it can be rectified. But when Ghana struck oil, the strategy that they approached it with was the best, if you ask me. That the late President Jonathan Mills, whose time, who was handling that at the time, what they did was they actually sent delegations to countries that had oil to study their situation. So they went to Nigeria, right? They went to Norway. I know of these two countries for sure. I know they went to some other country, but I know they definitely went to Nigeria and they went to Norway. So they looked at best practices and then they look at things that are not that great so they can work against it. They came and one of the things they did was that they set up something called the Heritage Fund. The Heritage Fund was supposed to take a certain percentage of the oil money and keep it in there so that nobody touches it at all. No matter what happens, that money is not touched because that money belongs to the future generations. That's the whole idea, right? This government has squandered the Heritage Fund. But I don't want to blame it all on this government. That's why I was saying to Rudolph a while ago that back in John Mahama's time, he went to the IMF for a bailout years after we had struck oil. And I was scratching my head at that. Why? Why do we find it's like we have an economy that's supposed to be running well, and then we get extra money on top of that, and we still go to the IMF. I could never wrap my head around that. So I think it started with John Mahama, to be honest with you. I don't know how they handled it over there, but at least I know he was handling the Heritage Fund. I know that was intact, at least. This government has used the Heritage Fund as collateral to go for a loan from some institution or the other. So the money that's being put in the Heritage Fund for the future is not our money anymore. Sir, the gold that we mine from Obuasi, Ghana is the biggest or the second biggest producer of gold in Africa. Ghana owns 10% or less of all that gold. Are we stupid? What's wrong with us? I don't get it. Who signs these agreements? So that's what's happening. Yeah, we struck oil, but we're not seeing any benefit from the oil. And let me tell you what. In those times when you were talking about, we had 4 oil wells. Now we have 6. We have 2 more. And we still are sinking as a country. We're still at the IMF. We've still been downgraded to CCC. The dollar is 12 cedis now. It's a shame. So I know how you feel. You know how you said you feel depressed? Put that on turbo, and that's how I feel on a daily basis. When I went to Ghana, just looking at people's faces made me moody. Because you can tell people are not happy.
Just a quick follow-up. You know why I said it? Because you mentioned borrowing from P2B in Nigeria. We've learned that it is really not a bad thing to borrow, but you must borrow for production. Does it mean the money Ghana borrowed, they cannot be traced to tangible things, what the money was put into, given that Ghana has an economy that goes on cocoa for agriculture, gold mining, and then crude oil, and the population is more than, I think, less than 50 million people or 40 million people.
No, we're about 30 million now.
Okay, 30 million, and yet with all these things, and they are still experiencing economic upheaval.
Yes, but you see, first of all, the gold, like I said, we get very little from that. Cocoa pays the farmers and puts money in some big man's pocket who pretend to be managing that industry. What else does it do for Ghana, to be honest with you? you know, and then the oil. I don't see how much we get from it. But let me also clarify this. In the previous government, you could point to tangible projects. We could see what we call the E-blocks. E-blocks are schools that the government built all over the country. And they had a peculiar design. So everywhere you go, you see them. Once you see it, you can identify them. John Mohammed's government built these schools all across the country. You can see them. Infrastructure, roads, interchanges, stuff like that. You can see them. Hospitals, state-of-the-art hospital. To tell you the truth, the airport in Accra was built without borrowing money from any external source. John Mohammed let the people use the money, the income that they made from the airport that they report to the government. He says, keep that for 3 years. And then we borrow more money on top of that from our own sources and use that. And you use that to pay the money back. That's tangible. So even though, like I had my own issues with Mahama and he was also borrowing all that money and whatnot, at least he could point to something and say, yes, this is what I use that for. Versus this government, who came with a policy of free SHS, free senior high school, and today, parents are being asked to bring food to their kids in school who are in boarding school. Otherwise, the school is going to shut down. And the worst part is if you're a teacher in any of these schools and you are found speaking about these issues, you are fired. This government, the worst thing that this government has done is to spoil our human rights and our press freedom records. I'm angry with this government for so many things, but for those two things, for the fact that people can't even speak.
All right, man of prestige, you're next.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Rudolph, and thank you, Jahbelowed. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, thank you to be on this platform. CM has stolen my question, but that's good, CM, my brother. I was going to ask about Ghana oil, so I'm glad I'm glad he presented that question. So I was not privy to the interview, so I just logged in when you saw me. But I think I listened to the preview earlier yesterday. I thought it was going to be about music. I know the guy is a musician, so I'm going to have a general question right now. But let me start with the economy, comparing Nigeria and Ghana, because I've always look up to Ghana. Try to see if we can model, their economic success. But in recent years, it doesn't seem to be this. It doesn't seem to be true, because it seems like Ghana is fluctuating like Nigeria is. So you being in Ghana or more privy to Ghana economy, can you compare the two economy? Which one is doing better as of present, and why Nigeria is falling behind so drastically compared to Ghana? Are they going on the same area? Because from what I understand, Nigerian inflation rate right now is, I think it was 15. It may have been 19 as right now, but I know Ghana is 23%.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about that? And my second question is going to be about entertainment, if you don't mind.
Yes.
When you finish asking this question, it's Rudolph
Okay.
can give me the privilege.
Absolutely.
I will ask some question about entertainment.
Absolutely. And this is what I say. I wish I had the economic knowledge to give figures and all those things to buttress the point. But I can point you to one simple thing that will just answer the question for you. Nigeria is definitely doing better than Ghana at this point. Wow. Because the currency is doing better. Inflation rate is worse in Ghana. Cost of living and even quality of living, I'm sure, is better in Nigeria. I'm very sure. So in that sense, wow. I mean, if these things, maybe people like Declan can help me out, because they do the indicators for the economy and that type of thing. I am dealing with it from the street level. Okay, listen, you go to Ghana now, all the taxis have turned into these matchbox cars from Korea. Why? Because everybody is trying to economize on gas, including the drivers who have to go make accounts for the car they drive all day trying to make money. If he drives a 1.8 liter car, he cannot even fuel it. So they're all driving these small little cars just so they can economize the fuel enough and make enough money to go home. So you go to the airport, you call for a taxi, you have two other people who came to meet you at the airport, and you cannot fit in the taxi. And you call the next one, and it's the same exact thing. And you call Bolt, Uber. They have another one they call Bolt. Same thing. Uber. You call Uber, and it's the same thing. You know, like people are, and that type of thing brings about bad ingenuity. If there's anything like that, bad ingenuity, because people are looking for ways to survive. So anything and anyhow, and everybody's trying to eke out a living. You know, people graduate from the universities, and sometimes the ingenuity is good, because sometimes they graduate from the universities and they realize that, yo, listen, I thought I was going to go sit in the office with a tie around my neck, but truth be told, to pay my bills, I have to go bake some pastries and go sell them on the streets. So they bake the pastries and then they put some nice design on it, and then they make it a brand, right? And then they stand at the graduates, sir, graduates.
All right. Man of Prestige, second question. I'll come to you, Sam, next.
Okay. I was gonna pivot on that. I was gonna ask about the what you call the tourists. I thought it has something. I thought that could have boosted Ghana economy. But let me go to my second question because of time. It's about entertainment, because there has been this rivalry between Ghana and Nigeria when it comes to Afrobeat. So can you expand that? Why does Nigeria dominate that thing? And it seems that the Ghanaians, because I listen to a lot of Ghanaian space, you know, like flays and all that kind of things, you know. It seems like they are jealous of Nigeria when it comes to Afrobeat. Why can't they join us and see what we are doing right? Maybe that will help Ghana when it comes to music, because they are lagging behind right now. They are preaching like pan-Nigerian music, Kenya, Cameroon. Why most of the Africans, you know, why are they scared of Nigerians?
Okay, so truth of the matter is that unlike jollof rice, I will not contest Ghana music and Nigeria music. Okay, if it was jollof rice, then I would stick my ground. But when it comes to Afrobeats, there is no question. I just said that a while ago. There's no question. Nigeria is leading that pack, no question. And if you look at all the guys who are kicking butt in that segment, it's Nigeria. Kiss Daniel, Brenna Boy, all of them. And then you have our Shatawales and our, you know, Stone Boys gravitating towards them, you know, so they can get the shine. Hey, they probably would be upset with me for saying this, but truth be told, Nigeria heads the pack, no question. Ghana doesn't even have an industry. And I wish Rudolph would invite me to speak about this another time, because there's no time for this. But Ghana doesn't have an entertainment industry. We pretend to have one. And we have a few people who call themselves gatekeepers, right? Who are like the ones who decide who should enter stardom or whatever. And these people are dunces. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They can't project anybody. They can only retrogress people. Unlike in Nigeria, what I see in Nigeria is that somebody can say, hey, listen, this artist is good. I'm going to put $100,000 into promoting him. You think that the playlists on all these New York stations are free? They are not. It's paid for. Somebody's paying for it. And Nigerians are smart on that level, right? I said this, Nigerians don't fear money. Ghanaians fear money. Ghanaians, they save money. When a Ghana man makes $100,000, he's thinking of saving it. When Nigerian man makes $100,000, he's thinking of making another $100,000 and blowing the one he has right now. Yeah. You know, we save money. We hold on to things. Nigerians don't fear, they go all out. So it's no question or no surprise that they are leading the pack in Afrobeat. There's no question about that at all. But we're not jealous though. We are respectful of that.
Okay.
All right. Let CM go next.
Okay. Thank you, Jahbelowed. One more question I want to ask you is that I know in Nigeria we have this perennial problem, though some people may deny it, of ethnicity and religion. And that is real the bedrock of what, because in Nigeria you can employ mediocre in any way, and insofar as it's either from your religion or your ethnicity. So that is at federal level they mess things up. Do Ghanaians have the same problem? Because I know there are Ashanti, there are Fante, there are these. Do you have that same problem?
Very covert. In Nigeria, you see it manifesting in conflicts and stuff like that, so you know it's there. In Ghana, we haven't seen it. Even though in the north we've seen some conflicts and stuff like that, but in Ghana, the real problem is that it's covert. It's covert. That is, the people in the south covertly look down on the people in the north. That's a fact. And not many people are comfortable speaking about that. But I'm going to speak about it. I'm from the South. I don't look down on anybody from the North. But generally speaking, the Southerners tend to look down on the Northerners, right? And then even within the Southerners, there are people who feel like they matter more than others. These are not things that you see burst out into conflict. It hasn't happened yet. So we may not even, accept it, but it's a fact.
What about mediocrity? What about mediocrity? Mediocre, putting unqualified people in a position because...
Oh, my good Lord. Where do I start with that?
Oh, in Ghana too.
Where do I start with that? And it's not just exclusive to this government. The previous government, they had some really top-notch people in there. But there were some other people that we couldn't understand why they were in those positions. Right? And then this government puts it on turbo. And the other thing is, every other government that I've seen, if things are not working, the government, reshuffles the ministers, replaces some of them, moves some to the other. This president doesn't seem to be aware of what's going on. The finance minister needs to have gone 2 years ago. He's still at post. And the economy is degrading and he's still sitting there.
All right. Before we go for second rounds, let's welcome the people that just joined us and see if they have any question or comment. Jude, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Jude is in California. Jude, do you have a question or comment for
our guest? Not yet. I'm just I just joined. So.
Okay, Ralph, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Rudolph. I'm moving stuff, so I would like to ask a question, and so I can jump out and go back to my moving.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, I always find it funny when we do this. The West, blame the West. I don't know which century we'll stop because I guess we are still on this. That's our number one go-to because if the West exists and East exists. However, at the same time, we are talking about Nigerians spending money in the entertainment scene. Nigerians love money. And then we also have the argument online, like we spend too much money, we do wrong things with money and all that, when we still don't have a good, viable entertainment industry like South Africa. So I'm confused sometimes when we keep saying this, the West did not tell you not to do the right things. And I'm always worried about this misinformation that we keep putting out there, that we keep hiding behind, instead of pointing out how we can grow our industries such as entertainment, how we can talk about, look at an example, look at Lagos. Lagos just commissioned the first is light rail, which took 11 years to build, over $1 billion. The same, Addis Ababa has 2 lines that cost less than half of what Lagos spent. And in 3 years, they built 2 lines. Lagos built 1 line in 1 year. So I don't know if the West made Addis Ababa get theirs right. But Lagos spent 11 years, but we keep shouting the West. So the West, well, how does it always happen? It's always when it comes to what we don't like, we keep shouting the West. Mugabe, the West made Mugabe pick his wife as his successor. Did the West come and tell you not to develop railway system that connects Accra to Kumasi and all the other parts of Ghana where the accident that happened earlier in the year, where the truck transporting dynamite collapsed and blew up half of the road? Is it the West that told you not to do that?
Yes.
So I don't know when will it become?
You'd be surprised that they have a part in it, but I'm trying to let you finish.
Precisely.
Okay, so when will it become proper for us to hold our people accountable? Because we keep doing this thing of always shouting the West, that even Turkey builds a mosque in Ghana, which is supposed to be national mosque, and we forget that Turkey is not in the West. And we now create people who think one way, expect things to be one way, forget that there are other countries in the world that have oil, doing their own things differently. Everybody plays a game. We are in one type of system or not, but we forget that there are options. And then now we all keep shouting the West. And then you now ask, why is something working for other people? Why you only limited? Why is that we only see things black and white? Because we only expect the West, the West. But Russia is doing something. Look at your neighbor, Burkina Faso. People are protesting, waving Russian flag. Is that freedom? Is that independence? I don't know. You tell me. But back to entertainment. How can if a white person didn't say Afrobeats is music, would we be shouting Afrobeats today? Wizkid was singing before Afrobeats became the song that became a genre in America. But until white people said Afrobeats, then we now started saying that's a genre. So I don't understand how we keep shouting, but we know what I think it's inferiority complex. That's our biggest weakness. So when do we start owning that and admitting that we have a problem called inferiority complex? Thank you.
I would say something really quick to that, and then we can continue. So the latter part of the thing, yes, we have our music. We have different types of music, but the thing is that when we talk about world music, we are bringing all the different influences onto a common platform where everybody else is appreciating it. Because if you take high life music, the local people like it and everything. But when the level at which we are talking about it is when it gets to a point where the whole world is paying attention to it. So that's where I guess you're talking about the West saying it's Afrobeats and whatnot. It's because the West is enjoying it. So now, if they will buy it and make artists can make a living from it, then of course it gets that type of recognition. Not to say that our own art forms are not there. They are there. They just don't have the type of recognition that the Afrobeats and the rest of them have, right? And then also they talk about the West, brother. Truth of the matter is that a lot of these things that you even mentioned as examples are connected to the West. And I don't think it's going on that tangent because, like you said, it makes it look as if you are blaming everything on the West. That's not what we're doing. But truth of the matter is that explosion that you spoke about, the company was a company from Spain, which is the West, right? Came to Ghana, did not follow procedure, bribed people because they know that people can be bribed. And then that happened. After it happened, they still bribe people. People are not even getting proper compensation. They are connected. Now, the geopolitics of the world is such that people are not sitting down and waiting. I'm not even concerned too much about the West anymore. China is my focus right now. Because the West, as we say it, have been in Africa for centuries. They did not destroy our water bodies. Now I see China comes to Ghana, puts a machine on the riverbank, puts 2 tubes in the river. 1 tube is sucking water from the river to wash gold, alluvial gold, right? The other tube is pumping the cyanide-infested water back into the same river. Who does that? So give me the West any day. Give me the West any day and twice on Sunday. Because like I'm saying, they've been there from 16 whatever, 14 whatever, when they came to Elmina. They came because of gold. They never destroyed the water bodies. They built railways, and I'm not praising them for it. They built the railways because they wanted to go into the hinterland and get the gold. But at least they had the presence of mind to do that. Now we have a China who comes and, let me tell you something. China is exporting yams to Ghana and the UK. Because Ghana used to export yams to the UK. They come and mess up your land, mess it up with mining, which is something I wish we had time to talk about. It's degrading Ghana right now. That's probably the biggest problem in Ghana right now, illegal mining. But China is at the helm of that, right? And then after they destroy your land, now they grow engineered yam and cassava in China and export it to England. So in a few years' time, that trader who was in Ghana exporting yams, they're shutting down your business because you can't compete. So my focus is not even the West, brother. The West, they've done the West to us already, I think. China, I think we should look at China.
All right. So
may I say something quickly before I leave?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I agree on the premise of China because there's this whole thing online of a revision of history and people like, as if China is your best friend and all that kind of good stuff going on. But I'm like, nobody builds your headquarters like the African Union for free without expecting access to something. And I've still not heard people talk about the speech Erdogan gave at the African Union when he was asking for Turkey to be an observatory member of the African Union. And he said it's because of Turkey's ties to Africa on an Islamic level. And I've heard many Nigerians here who hate other Nigerians because of Islam, but they were quiet on that. And it's weird that, that's why I keep pointing out that there's this thing that we focus on the wrong places sometimes. I get it. The West, you can't ever find me supporting the English Premier League. I don't even respect anybody who brings English Premier League around me. But the enemy is right there at your domot. And we feel not to pay attention to that. That's why the best solution at the end of the day is still trade between African countries, which we fail to see how we fail to promote. African nations. Africa is the only continent that does not have has the lowest amount of trade between its countries. Everybody's pursuing trade between somebody oceans away. Your biggest trading partner should be your next door neighbor. And when you have that, it forces you to improve your infrastructure. You can be shouting Pan-Africanism, you can be shouting socialism, you can be shouting whatever ism that you want to shout. But if you don't have roads that connect at the Aflao border, you don't have railway that's connecting at the border, you're not going to have the tomatoes move from one community to the next market. We don't think about that. We only think about sheep. And then if China says, I'm not buying from anybody, or I don't want your gold anymore, you are done. Your market is done. But look at the music now. Before the music became big in the West, was it not Congolese musicians coming to Nigeria when Jahbelowed started blowing up? Everybody was dancing to Congolese music. They were moving around Africa. And that should have been the first example.
Nigerian musicians were also moving around it.
Yes, well, I was coming to that because way before that, as a kid, I didn't even realize that because my family is also from Ghana. We had Ghanaian music, but Ghanaian musicians were coming to Nigeria. Nigerian musicians were going over to Ghana. And we had people from other parts of Africa coming. It was going around. So that should have been the first sign that if you want to promote trade, you need to have a strong trade between African countries. From north to south, there needs to be infrastructure. And I think Mahama said that yesterday at the IMF meeting for business partners at DC, that Africa never had a Marshall Plan. And I think that's something you will never hear China promoting it. You will never hear Russia promoting it. Russia will give you weapons. The largest number of weapons that kills Africans, small trade, comes from Africa. The last report that came out. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you giving us your time.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. All right. Let me see the people we've not heard from. Jude, are you ready?
I think James has his hand up.
Oh, I could say that. Yeah, James will talk till tomorrow if you allow him. He won't let other people talk. Jude, are you ready?
Let James go ahead. Let James go ahead.
James, go ahead.
Thank you. You see, it is very difficult for African countries to trade among themselves under prevailing situations because there's what I would call non-complementary production structures. You grow granite in Nigeria, the Gambians also grow granite. You find cocoa in Nigeria, Nigerians also Ghana, Nigerians also do the same thing. Whatever you produce in one African country is also produced in your neighboring countries. So trade is very difficult. And one thing we should know about trade is this. The Western form of trade we're talking about is not to our advantage. For 400 years, Africans were involved in slave trade. It did not benefit them. Since slave trade ended about 200 years ago or so, we've never benefited anything from our contacts with the West. They brought what they call legitimate trade after slave trade. Agricultural produce and mineral produce, it never benefited us. The neo-colonial structures, during colonial rule, trade continued. It never benefited us. Now we're talking about World Trade Organization, neo-colonial structures. It's not benefiting us. For as long as you tie yourself onto the West, quoting your currencies in pounds and dollars, this problem will continue. Let me tell you what is happening in the Gambia. We grow granite here. Now, when you grow the granite, it is the white man who will tell you the price of the granite you've grown. Then he will buy it from you. He now produce granite oil out of the granite, and he will also tell you the price you will pay for the granite oil. At the end of the day, you're always the loser. This is why I was quoting people like Kwame Nkrumah. When Kwame Nkrumah was charting a course for Africans, it is the CIA, headed by this George Bush Sr., when he was in Accra, that toppled this government. Robert Mugabe. His land was forcibly dispossessed by the white people during the Chimurenga War of 18th century, I can't remember. They never allowed him no peace. Murtala Mohammed, when he came to Nigeria, we had a clear sense of direction. The day he was killed, February 13, 1976, Suka Buka Dimka was at the British High Commission in Lagos. What was he doing there? So the issue is that what we need is total and unconditional disengagement from the West. See, the Iranians in 1979, they were just like Nigeria. Although people had branded them terrorist state or whatever, or rogue state, between 1979 and now, Iran is a country to be feared, even by the United States. Whenever you go against Western interests, they brand you, they give you all sorts of names. We should be tired of saying we are tired of being slaves. Slave trade was abolished officially in 1807. And up till now, slavery is still going on, and we are relishing it. African leaders steal money. They never send their money to Japan or Hong Kong or the Eastern countries.
Send it to Dubai.
To the West. London,
Dubai
Paris,
in the West.
You get the point? They don't see anything wrong with that. But when you do them anything, they are ready to rain fire on you. The first coup d'etat in West Africa was in Liberia, I think 1923 or thereabout. When it happened, the people toppled the irresponsible government. The US armed forces invaded Liberia to restore the decadent administration. So as I've said, not until we disengage ourselves from the West, we will never know peace. For over 400 years, we'll be going around.
All right, please, let me just say this before I go. Please, let me just say this.
Just a two-liner. I agree with most of what you've said, James, except to say that I don't think total and disengagement from the West is realistic. It's not realistic. Let's be practical, okay? I think what we need is a revised terms of trade in terms of engagement in everything that we do, right? For instance, why does Ghana have 10% of the gold? We should sit down with whoever owns the gold and revise that. I think that's what we need. But you say we are totally disengaging from the West. It's one ecosystem. It's one world. You know, we all live here. And remember, a country like
excuse me, Africa is for Africans. Africa is for Africans. When they were doing business with South Africa, under the apartheid regime, Douglas Ian Smith of Zimbabwe, while they were doing business at the expense of the blood of Africans, they saw nothing wrong with it. But when the Africans are charting their own course, they don't want them to know peace.
All right, please, let me just clarify something. Let me clarify something. Let me clarify something. Let me clarify something.
Any leader who is not willing to die for Africa,
James, I'm sorry, but you're not right. You're not factually right on anything.
Perfectly correct.
No, you're not. Murtala Mohammed should have gone to prison. He's a human rights violator. That guy butchered Igbo people mercilessly during the Civil War. And you people keep claiming that he's some glorious guy because he made some speeches about socialism, as if that's all it takes. You don't judge. If you are really about this Pan-Africanism, you are about all it takes, then you wouldn't want any other African. You wouldn't want all Africans killed. But you put this wayo out there. You pick and choose the good things you like. Mugabe gave land to people who don't know how to farm. Who told Mugabe to give the wrong people?
What is wrong with that? It's their land.
Okay, fine. Hold on. Let me make this point. Let me make this point because you have people who want to farm. You said it's the people's land, yes, but you gave the land to your party cronies, and your party cronies are not farming. So who loses? They are Zimbabweans, and the economy drops.
Well,
because there's a cost, there's reactions to everything. If you give a farmland to somebody who is not farming,
all these things happen.
Wait. If you don't give, if I take a farmland from somebody who forcefully took it 100 years ago, fine, that's right. But I have people in my country who want to farm. I skip over them and I pick my party member and say, take, because you are my supporter. Take. My supporter is not doing anything with the land. Will skip over that and say the West made it, but the person I gave the land to refused to do anything with the land. The land was fertile. The land was producing goods, was producing products. Nobody is talking about that. Then I say, oh, I want my wife, who was my secretary, to take over power. But why won't that cause chaos? That's why the guy with the crocodile, that with somebody whose nickname is the crocodile, go through China, come back, and the next day is overthrowing you. We keep quiet, and then we skip to, it was only just the West. Oh, it was only, but how your nickname is the crocodile? So a human being's nickname is the crocodile.
Let's not throw away the baby with the bathwater, Raphael.
No, because Mugabe, we make Mugabe. If you go by Mugabe's speeches,
you know about
from
the agreement. You know the history behind the Zimbabwe situation, don't you? In 1980, in 1980, when they signed the agreement in 2000, they were supposed to do what they were supposed to do. They refused to do it. Tony Blair.
Mugabe had an opportunity to do the right thing. He did do the right thing.
One thing about Tony Blair's involvement in all of this. You're only blaming Mugabe.
That is, you are putting two different things in the same place. I'm asking, who are the people Mugabe gave the land to?
Yeah, Zimbabwe.
The ZANU PF. Okay, that's all. Anybody? Okay, then if you give, it's like saying Buhari gave awards yesterday, right? In Nigeria, day before yesterday. One of the person is the son of a financier, somebody who Nigeria claimed is a financier of terrorism in Nigeria. His son got national award yesterday, but he's a Nigerian. So yes, that's it, right? We shouldn't point out that, hey, but you claim he's a terrorist financier. Should we ask questions or not?
All right.
We should.
That's how we keep missing the boat all the time, because we miss out what's right in front of us. We jump to the other. We only like this part about the person, so we're going to stick to that part. How do you hold people accountable? Mugabe messed up, period. Because he had the right, the chance to do the right thing.
Everything he did was right. He did some messed up stuff.
And he killed 20,000 people too.
But
the 20,000 people that he killed.
Zimbabweans, and they had to have their
but he killed 20,000 people too.
Decide to do anything in it. That's my right.
And that's why we are stuck where we are, because we will say, we gave all the lands to Ghana. Then why are we mad at the current Ghanaian government? It's not for they can claim they're doing everything for Ghana too, right? They use that same excuse.
How do you even compare the two? Zimbabwe was fighting for the heritage of his people as a whole. You know what Nana Akufo is doing? He's trying to load into
I know, but I know, but you don't want to hold people accountable for their crimes.
How do you even compare the two?
Raf, hold on. Okay, so we have I know.
Anyway, it was nice talking to you people. I'll be listening in the background.
Okay, I actually enjoy some of this, Maxwell, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Rudolph. You see, Jahbelowed, my brother, I would like to speak something, a little on the oil and, the management of the oil. You know quite all right that it was Kufuor, during Kufuor's time, the ex-president, that the oil was discovered in commercial quantity, and he did not benefit from it. The problem we had in respect to that oil discovery, the remunerations or the royalties or the percentage that we're supposed to get was not adequately in favor of the Ghanaian people. You are aware of that, sir? You see, yes. What they paid us is what we call royal percentage, simply because the oil is on our soil.
No,
we don't have anything, and that was the problem late Atamis had when he came into power. He tried to reverse the contract, the demonic contract that was signed that gave us only 11.5 or less than 12% royalty of the total oil from Cosmos and Tullow. That contractual agreement, exploration of the crude oil, was never done to our own benefit here in Ghana under ex-President Kufuor. That aside, now, when you come to Rudolph asks you some of the things. I don't know who asked you some of the things that you can compare Nigeria with. You see, as long as I live in this country, and this is where my father comes from. I'm from the Upper East region, Binaba village, from the Upper East region, Bogatanga. That's where my father comes from. You see, we have, if you are in a country, no matter how bad the country is, and you don't have security of lives and property, then that country is not going anywhere. I can boast of that in this country, irrespective of the problem that we have in this country. As long as there is that security for the people, I'm up for it.
Maxwell,
another thing is that
Ghanaians are secure. Is that what you're saying?
Come again?
Are you suggesting that Ghanaians are currently secure, as living safe?
Yeah. If you compare it with our neighbors, we are a bit secured. Okay. In terms of what is going on, I was a serving military officer as well. I know what is happening in Burkina Faso. I know what is going on in Nigeria and the politics of terrorism in Nigeria, in Mali, and other places as well. In the Rwanda and Sierra, Central African Republic. We know what is going on in these areas. So you see, when you come to Ghana, we still have that level of security in Ghana. I can boast of that. And another thing I can boast of also in Ghana as a Ghanaian is the supply of electricity. Yes, we had serious problem. What we normally call, I think you are aware of it, when we were carrying stoves on the street. The doomsaw thing, you know. So since that time, the doomsaw has been rectified. There is constant electricity.
No, let's not even go there. Just last week, just less than 2 weeks ago, people had money in their hands to go buy prepaid. This is
exactly
like we didn't pay the bill. So
Jahbelowed,
to go buy
Jahbelowed.
There was no electricity to be bought. What are you
exactly
saying?
I understand. I understand. You know
it was dark. Entire Ghana was dark.
Yes, I know.
What are you even saying, Maxwell?
See, my brother. See
what things that you
what
said,
I'm trying to say. What
security?
No, Jahbelowed. What I'm trying to say is this. I suffered in buying my prepaid car, loading my prepaid card because
right now. It looks like you've got doomsaw right now.
No, I have my light is on. My light is on. I have for the past apart from the problem we had that time, for the past 2-3 years now, my light has never blinked. Okay, so and we are paying for it in a situation where you have
you are living in paradise, man. Compared to Nigeria, you are in paradise.
Okay, you see, when you compare it to some of the African, you see, Jahbelowed, where I have problem is this. My mom is from the eastern part of Nigeria, and I served in the army for 18 years, and I know what I passed through.
Nigerian army or the Ghanaian army?
Nigerian army, yes. You see, especially in the north, 18 years, 19 years of my active service was in the north, in the northern part of Nigeria. You see, I experienced what Nigerians are experiencing. I don't think that they supposed to do so. I don't think so. They're supposed to at least have such thing. Electricity should be one of the bane of development in Nigeria. If any other African country must suffer for electricity power generation, that country not supposed to be Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
All
right.
But I don't agree with those two things you said, because maybe if you compare it to, like you said, other
countries,
you have a case. But if you compare it to Ghana itself, of just less than 10 years ago, Ghana is a very, very, very dangerous place to live in right now, I'm telling you. Because, are you aware, did you see that video where some land guards pulled out guns? Okay? Somebody has a mining concession. Somebody else says it's his or whatever. Comes with his people with guns in broad daylight, start shooting. We never saw these things. Were you there when 8 people were shot and killed during the elections? Ghana has never experienced anything like that. Elections, 8 people were killed. Right? Army, police people shooting at shoulder level into the demonstrators. We've never seen anything like that. So I don't agree with you at all. The state of Ghana in terms of safety right now is precarious. We need to be clear about that. And also the energy situation, that's not true either.
All right.
It's a very bad situation over there.
Let's welcome Roman. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm calling from the UK. How are you all?
Good. Yeah. Nice to have you.
Yeah.
If you have a question or a comment for our guest, Jahbelowed.
And I'm just nipping in. I've watched with keen interest your program over the years, beginning with your episode 1 on Dr. Damages.
Wow.
And
Thank you.
everything else. Or even when you were with the Adiola in Sahara Reporter. So I have followed your jests, your jokes, and now your reality. So,
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right.
But I'm a bit surprised when I see so many people I also see in order. I don't join, but I try to sample opinions and see what people are thinking about. And I see all these trollers everywhere arguing and enjoying themselves.
Yeah,
Before I go, can I just talk on what James has been hammering on?
Okay.
James, listen, if your house is on fire and a rat comes in, please leave the rat alone and stop the fire. You cannot continue to blame colonial masters over these many years that you have had your own independence. I am not saying they have not had influence or are not still having influence, but the dividing line between who you call colonial masters and the self-governing people today is intellectual disposition. If you produce for yourself what you think you depend on them for and compete on that economic level, they will have little influence on what you do. The problem with Africa and many developing countries is the fact that I don't know whether we have refused to think or have refused to use our head. We produce less, we coordinate less, we have very rudimentary governing patterns, and we depend on these imported ones. And when we do, they have the proclivity of influencing what we do in our area. So it's high time we started thinking, organizing, and doing most things for ourselves. It's not their problem. It's not them. They will always influence. This world lives on a comparative advantage. You will always want to have that economic advantage over anybody, no matter who they are. So if you have an economic power and you can reproduce and produce what you want for yourself and your people, I'm telling you, they will want to cooperate with you rather than influence what you do. That's
Mr. Rudolph, let me respond quickly before you move on to the next topic, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The point I'm making, you guys seem not to be seeing, you are not seeing things from my perspective. We have the capability to do what we want in our own way. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, when he built the, listen, when he built the, what's called the Akosombo Dam, people thought he was crazy. When he built the Tema Highway, they used cement, they cemented the road. They did not even use the tar, which was very novel in those days. They said, this man is wasteful. Job 600, the port at Tema, that man was way ahead of his time. If that if that process had been continuous, Ghana would have been a very, very different place today. But it is the CIA who removed that man from office when he was in Hanoi in 1966. Patrice Lumumba of Congo, despite all the bright ideas he had for his people, he never knew peace. They killed him. Murtala Mohammed of Nigeria, he took some very dramatic move to curb corruption in Nigeria.
You're saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, because you are not understanding me.
This was 60 years ago, 55 years ago. You can't continue to read this history.
You are interrupting me. I did not interrupt you.
No, you speak a lot. I've been watching this program. You take a lot of time repeating the same thing over and over and over again.
When the Iranians launched their revolution, they rained Armageddon on them. Today, Iran is a country to be feared. The issue is that the white man is a nuisance to Africa. I don't know if you will take it from me. No matter how long, how hard we strive, we will never see the promised land, let alone getting there.
I get what you're saying, except to say that it's dangerous to paint with a broad brush, right? Because we all know that people like Joe Slovo, who is a white man, was very instrumental in dismantling apartheid in South Africa. So my thing is, I'm looking at the institutions that are set up to work against the African people rather than people as a race of people. Because like I just said, Jahbelowed was an integral part of the ANC.
Why
When
can't
Jahbelowed died,
the CIA? Why can't the CIA?
Soweto shut down.
Yeah, why can't the
Right?
CIA?
So why
Why
can't?
can't?
So we have to be very careful when we are painting with such brushes.
Excuse me, sir. Why can't the CIA remove Muhammadu Buhari the way they remove Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana? Why can't the CIA rain fire on him the way they rain fire on Zimbabwe under Robert Mugabe? Why can't they remove the government of Ghana the way they removed Mengistu Haile Mariam of Ethiopia?
You see, there you go again, because even somebody like Mengistu
These
Haile
men
Mariam,
are serving their
I don't
interest.
know why you would put Mengistu Haile Mariam's name in the same league as Kwame Nkrumah.
No, because
You
he
see,
was
so this
against the
discussion can go in so many different directions. But what I'm trying to say is that we get what you're saying. My only problem with what you're saying is that it's dangerous to paint with a broad brush. And then when we start picking names, then everybody has the perspective that they're looking at. To me,
Anyway,
Haile Mariam needs to burn in hell. Whoever
please,
Haile Mariam is my hero.
Please.
If you ask me,
Please let me have your WhatsApp number if you don't mind.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, we can discuss
Absolutely.
quite a lot of things.
I can get a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, you are a distinguished Rastafarian, frankly
Thank you,
speaking. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Always interesting, you don't know who you have here, and I really appreciate everybody who comes on and joins the conversation. Let me
Rudolph, can I make 1 minute intervention so
okay.
that it will be a food for thought for everybody?
Okay.
1 moment. You see, I used to think that leading a people is a complex science, or maybe what they call it's not a robotic science or whatever. Until I read this book, From Third World to the First by Lee Kuan Yew. What he said here translates to only one thing: the love for your country. If a leader, you have a love for your country, nothing is impossible. Even bypassing the West, even standing shoulder to shoulder with them, to some extent anyway. Because this chap, look at where Singapore is today in the world. Everybody knows it. Singapore. This were the country that Malaysia just drove away, that they don't want them because of whatever. This man said he toured around the world looking for solution. People were looking at him as if somebody with leprosy. He comes to a conference, he wouldn't talk. He attended Commonwealth Conference in 1965 in Lagos, and then maybe early 66 before the coup. He said he heard what people were discussing. When he went home, he assembled his people. He said, "What do we do? Nobody is coming. What do we do?" And they started somewhere. This is until I read this book, I never wanted to be in position of leadership, but I said, if I'm to be in position of leadership, this will be my Bible. Every day we read one chapter. So what we are discussing here, it is possible. The West, if you want to progress more than them, they can't allow you. To some extent, what James is saying is true. But you, as the leader of the country, you should be able to know how to outwit certain things. And then at least, if they can't allow you to get to position 10, even if you're at position 8, your country should not go down. And then you transfer that knowledge so that they will know this is a common enemy. If everybody is together and they know what they are doing. But our leader in Africa, James, you know this, is because we are too self-centered. We want everything for ourselves. We rarely think like the Nkrumah was thinking in those days. Or you tell me for the past 20 years, people that have been thinking like the way Nkrumah and then maybe, what is the name in Congo? Patrice Lumumba, the way they were thinking, or even Mandela. So our problem is to a large extent.
Maybe Rwanda. I see a lot of, look at Rwanda as an example.
I know he's resisting them his own way because he prefers his country
to the economy they're running right now in less than 2 generations.
If he warrants you that you should be a little bit of 2% a dictator, 2%, let your people understand 100%. Where you are headed. Let them understand, because I think Ghanaians do not understand where Nkrumah was going. That was why it was easy for people to penetrate and use Katoka or Kotoka to topple him, and then you make them know this is because this man really made it. When he assembled Singaporeans, he told them, look, we don't have any other help than to help ourselves, and they all agreed and they worked together. That was why
And
Singapore, the patriotism.
Nkrumah's secret was to be non-aligned, right? Back to the question about disengaging from the West and all that. Nkrumah did not totally disengage from the West. He went non-aligned, being that, okay, the West and the East, Russia and America, you're tagging at each other. We're not on your side, but we're not against you either. We're not on anybody's side. We're in the middle. We are non-aligned. So they started what they called the non-aligned movement, for which Ghana was a very big part, right? And that was strategic because then Nkrumah could sit in one spot and get money from Russia, get money from America, and get technical expertise from Russia to develop his country all in one strike, right? Without being like, I'm aligned to America, so I cannot get Russian help or vice versa. You know,
was Singapore not a British colony?
Anybody's lucky. Africans should not align. Africans should be in the middle. If anything works for us, then we align with it.
No, James, hold on. Let him finish.
Was Singapore not a British colony, CM?
Repeat again, please.
Thank you. Was Singapore, you just mentioned now,
it was
it not a British colony?
It was a British colony.
Have they left them alone? Have they left them alone?
Was Southern Rhodesia not a British colony?
Now, can I let him finish this one?
No, I'm asking
because
you,
that example he gave shows
not
you that you can say no to your colonial master. You can.
No,
you can say no to
that. Not really. You see, Roman, not really by you sort of standing as if you are being confrontational. But what this guy did, this man is very, very intelligent because he consulted his cabinet, almost first class from Cambridge. He told them, he said, look, if we don't do anything, we go under. So what he said here, I wouldn't have time to discuss all of them. He's trying to say that when he started picking up, do you know that this same British, we now come behind and ask them that we can sign an agreement. We said, no, then we come back to that. So
that's what I just said.
It is the law for the country. But let your people know exactly where you are going such that they will not do to you what they did to Nkrumah. Maybe Nkrumah was doing it ahead of his time. Those people around him did not understand. So they were easily used to topple him or, mess him up. But this Lee Kuan Yew really understood. Yes.
CM, you see, what people do not understand was that Kwame Nkrumah was the only man in Africa that survived over 30 attempted coups.
Probably.
And assassinations.
Because of where he was going to. And they used the British ambassador, the British High Commission here in Ghana. He was the one that orchestrated. I do not know whether that man is still alive or dead today. He went back to England and told the parliament and the prime minister over there that they cannot afford to allow this man to continue with the agenda this man was carrying on that time. And they overthrew him using our own people. It is our own people, just like what CM is saying. Allow your people to come close to you and let them know where you are going to. If they know where you are driving at, then they will now support you and they will prevent these external forces from taking over a very serious influence on the
It's not guaranteed because Kwame Nkrumah did his very best, but even before Kwame Nkrumah became president, the forces were against him. The other people who are now trying to force themselves into the history of Ghana were already sitting down and planning and scheming with the forces that be. Even Kwame Nkrumah won the elections from prison. Kwame Nkrumah was in prison when he won the elections and came out to guide the country. So yes, I agree with all that you say, but I'm afraid we are human beings. There will always be bad-minded people. There will always be selfish people. People who feel like they deserve the spot, not you. Right? So Kwame Nkrumah was brought in to be the secretary of the UGCC. There were people in the UGCC before he came. So those people thought it should be them, not Kwame Nkrumah who should, So
the big six
were bent on putting sand in his garage, no matter what.
All right.
Sorry, if you don't mind.
So this is a very interesting conversation. I know that we will continue on that part. But Jahbelowed, thank you so much for joining us today.
Please, I would like to have how do I get your WhatsApp address? Sorry, your WhatsApp number.
I don't know how to pass it on from here.
Yeah,
So please ask me
James, I'll send it to you.
Please,
yeah.
You see it. I post it online now.
Yeah.
Got you. And then we'll have a chat on the back end.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Maxwell, Jordan, Roman, CM, everybody.
Bye, my brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roman.
Thank you.
And all the best.
I feel so good.
I
When I have a
go.
conversation like this, you know what it says to me? There's hope.
You can
This
see
all
it
it
now.
says to me. When I hear, everybody, when I hear you, people like you speak, I know there is hope for our people. Thank you so much.
Please, you can see it now. I've already posted it. 220
I see it.
777-6884.
I see it. I'll see.
Please endeavor to call me. We have a
I'll call you right after this.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
well
much.
done, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. So while our guest is leaving, I want us to maybe have a few, one or two conversations around what happened since yesterday. Let me share this video.
And please go support my music.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Support you.
Jahbeloved on all digital platforms. You'll find me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, let's watch this and then have a conversation.
Adua.
Do the self.
And that is, I'm openly begging Nasir El-Rufai not to run away for additional degree excuse. Now he's going to Cairo, PhD and everything. There are lots of educated relics. We are not going to let you run away. Your vision, creativity, and resiliency in turning a rotten situation to a bad one is necessary at this critical time. That is why we are here today.
Did you see that woman sitting beside El-Rufai? She moved towards, I don't know who she is. She moved towards him and said, "Did you hear what he just said?" So I wanted to sample opinion of people here about what do we expect from our political office seekers? We need to be able to know who these people are. And so far, what I've seen is that people are interested in seeing them come out to campaign. But we're not going to learn anything from them coming out to speak for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I think there is need for having them take questions from Nigerians. I'm not even talking about journalists alone, but Nigerians. Hear them, challenge them with questions and hear their answers. That's the way we can actually begin to see how their mind works. Go ahead, yeah.
I think they are apart from Obi, Sowore and some other parties that are not making wave except Obi's own. Those other ones are ready. Hear from the public, from the people that they are asking to hire them, and they also are willing to talk to them. But for PDP and APC, they are deliberately avoiding to speak with the people. One, because they feel too big. They feel bigger than Nigeria. They feel that Nigerians, doesn't have any right to require them to speak to them. They feel they are doing us a favor when they want to come out and talk to us. The other day, we all heard when Tinubu was telling Nigeria to shut their mouth up if they desire to, if they are asking, for those that are asking for a change in government, to shut their mouth up. That impunity that these people are operating for many years, unchallenged, except now. And they continue to get themselves deluded that everything is going to be as it has always been. That Nigeria is still going to continue to condone their excesses and their impunity as they have always been. But they don't know that things are changing so quickly and so fast. I can imagine you are asking for to be, or you are vying for the #1 position of the land. You are afraid to be interviewed, to go for interview for that position. You just want the people hire me, I'm qualified, that's it. You just have to. It exemplifies, it shows it's a lot of degree of audacity, of impunity and disdain to the society, to the people that they are asking to hire them. Otherwise, what prevent them from coming, going from town to town, city to city, holding town hall, sensitizing people, letting people know what they want to offer? Again, because they don't have anything to offer Nigeria except to continue to keep the status quo. And that is why they are hiding, because they don't want to be called out. They don't want people to ask them questions so that they cannot, so that they will know exactly their intent. But unfortunately, they don't know. We all know their intentions. It's only a few of them that are benefiting from them that I would say they even know their intention. It's just because of what they are benefiting from them, so they don't even care about their intention. Just that which they are benefiting from them is their pivotal interest in continuing to support them. But thank God, many Nigerians today are beginning to see the hypocrisy, to see the nakedness, to see the wickedness of these evil people, evil politicians in PDP and in APC. The other day, recently, Atiku was telling, was answering in a meeting, I think it was 2 days ago or 3 days ago in a meeting, and he was telling them that the North only wants a Northerner to lead them, somebody that can bring them, somebody that can build a bridge across the West. That is only the Northerners. And meanwhile, this is the same person that I've told Okowa and what is the Wike, that after his 8, let's assume he wins after 8 years, then it will be the turn of the Southerns, of the Igbos, or the Southeast. At the same time, he's telling his people that they only need the Northerners to rule them. I mean, who is he deceiving? It's apparent that these people don't want to hand over power. They just want to hold on to it, okay? And they're just using Tinubu as I don't even know, as a willing idiot. I don't know. There's a way they always call it. They're just using Tinubu as a willing idiot, and Tinubu himself is going about deluding himself that he's going to be a president of Nigeria. That is just a joke of the year.
Okay, thank you, Jude. I don't think anybody, all these candidates, I don't think any of them is a joke. Any of them can win this election, whether it's fair or not. That's why I think that Nigerian people should take everybody seriously. And this is the time you have the opportunity to know who these people are. And we were all there when Buhari won. Anybody can win it, whichever way they did, they will do it well. Roman, you will have something to say.
Yeah, sometimes I find it extremely difficult to comment on Nigerian politics because it's very highly charged with a lot of interests, sectional interests, and personal interests. But I'm just a bit scared about these people parading themselves as potential presidents. And if you're talking about the reason why they are not campaigning, or the two former non-party presidential candidates are not campaigning, it's very obvious. They've never won elections. They only write results and appoint who will rule them. So they probably are still believing that there will be a way they can manipulate and appoint somebody. So yes, you now have the partially electronic voting system. They've been working very hard to see if there is a way they can subvert that particular concept that is now the way forward. The reason they are not campaigning, and what is even campaign in the first place? Hire people from different villages, paid for, assemble them in a stadium, and then tell the same people you hired what you want to do or how you are going to win. All of them are swearing that they will win, and they say must win, and sometimes say definitely win. And you begin to wonder, so where is the elect word in all of these things? So I have had experience in politics here in the UK where I live. I used to be a member of the Conservative and have contested elections. You don't gather people in a hall or in a stadium and then begin to tell them. You go house to house, or you go on national TV and get cross-examined, not pre-recorded questions, but cross-examined instantly on what you're going to do. Fearless journalists will put you on the spot and have a follow-on question to your question, not written down questions, and there will be no follow-on questions if you gaffe. So seriously, it's a bit of a scary situation in Nigeria. Some of us that were born there, raised there before we moved, still have our hearts there and would want things to be different from what is going on now. But it's just a little bit scary. I find it difficult to really discuss it in a forum like this because people are highly emotionally charged. I don't want to get into trouble.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Raf, were you trying to say something?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I'm back again, and I'll disappear again after I speak. Well, in a little bit. But yeah, so I'm confused now because are we asking for real democracy now, or is it back? Because it's like everybody was like, we don't want democracy. I'm like, this is the why we keep doing to ourselves. 1 minute we keep saying we don't want democracy, we want military, we want like, what do you want? Because these guys have shown us if they can organize people in a stadium. You think they can organize people in a town hall? They can't. We saw Buhari have journalists asking him friendly questions. You think he can organize? Tinubu can organize journalists. How many real journalists do we have in Nigeria? You can count them. They can have people be asking them friendly. How are you doing today, sir? Sir, how is? Did you brush your teeth this morning? I saw you riding a bicycle. You rode very fast. You're the fastest 70-year-old I've seen in this world. They will do that, and people will say, "Chai, this man is strong. Oh, he's a strong president." And you go feel like you don't know your people. So if you want democracy, be honest. Don't come here and be saying we don't want, we can't do democracy. We don't like democracy. It doesn't work in Africa. It works in other places. It works in Africa, but it's too popular to come online and be shitting on democracy because it's the way to go now. It's a Twitter thing. It's a social media thing. It's the anti-West. Okay, fine. Then when you get a Tinubu as your favorite for office, then you start getting mad. Why are you mad? Why are you mad? You want a Putin, you want an Iran. You want that type of system, right? There's always options. But if you don't want that option, then go for the right candidate. Do the right thing. I always keep telling us, we have options. I don't need to hear from Tinubu anymore. The guy has, what's he going to tell us that's new? He's not going to tell us anything that's new. I mean, I enjoy watching that video of him riding the bicycle, though. It was cool to watch it. And the Jahbelowed videos. But he doesn't have anything new. But don't come and be telling me that Africans don't know how to do democracy. Africans are doing democracy. Before colonialism, we were doing democracy. Don't Igbo culture have democracy? Until white man come and tell you what democracy is, then you start saying, oh, democracy. We have, how did Yoruba people sack their kings? Isn't that democracy? When they give the king in what's that book called? The gods are not to blame. When the king makers offer you, they tell the king to abdicate. What is part of democracy? Right? Different cultures have that. But until Oyibo come and tell you, democracy, hey, it's democracy. That's why I tell people it's inferiority complex. That's our biggest weakness. It's our biggest default. And until you approach down till you can take care of it, me, I don't have that problem anymore. I'm working on
Raf. Okay, let me defend.
Question for Raf. For Raf.
No. Okay, hold on. Let me ask him first. Then you come. Raf, I know people always pick on journalists. I understand that we have issues with our journalism, We don't expect our journalism to be better than our politics or better than our police. You know, they have to be what you have. But the point is that unlike other professions, journalism is open to anybody. Anybody here can start a newspaper. Anybody here can become a blogger. You can become a columnist. You can become anything in journalism. You can decide today that these people are not doing it right. I'm going to do it the right way. And you go ahead and do it. You learn if you don't know how to do it. Most people you see in the media in Nigeria, they don't have a degree in journalism.
I understand.
So,
But I think we need to point out the distinction. A blogger is a blogger. I'm a podcaster. I've had people come on my podcast and they say because I point out social rights, human rights, and all that, I'm an activist. I said, no, I'm not an activist, but I don't feel comfortable seeing a human being just because person is gay. I say, okay, they say, okay, kill that person. I said, no, that is it's not right. Right is not right. Wrong is wrong. Just point it out. That doesn't have to make me an activist. I'm not going to come out and do protests. That's not my thing. That doesn't qualify people to be journalists. If you haven't gone to the school to go for training, you're not qualified. But I understand that not everybody has to go to the school to get the certificate, because someone like you, Rudolph, you've been on my podcast, and if you haven't checked out Rudolph's episode, self-plug, yes, check out Rudolph's episode. You'll find out how Rudolph became a journalist, which is a great story. But not everybody is taking the steps that Rudolph took, who did not go to journalism school. And I think we are seeing that problem today in Nigeria, because a child like me, back in the days when we had Guardian, Daily Times, Observer, Concord, there were a lot of people who you got different points of views, but you saw journalism. You saw the type who will call out the person's name who's doing the bad thing, and you saw the one who will tell you in a satirical way. You saw the one who will tell you, okay, I will just describe the person, but I won't tell you the person's, I won't tell you the person's name, but I will describe the person. You could use your imagination to know that this is Apache they're talking about. This is Wangida they're talking about. We don't have that today. Today is just, this chief just the best governor of the year. And that and I'm like, what, and so that's why I said not everybody is a journalist. But speaking about the presidential race right now, like, okay, let me quit this tangent. We have the flooding happening in Nigeria right now. 29 states are affected by the flooding right now, right? You know the ties to Buhari. 40 years ago, Shagari had approved the dam. Cameroon had that dam being built. And Cameroon had said the agreement with Nigeria was that you will build a dam to counter the effects coming from Cameroon. The dam that Cameroon have on their side, right? Buhari overthrows Shagari, comes into power, speaks this communism and socialism speech. Everybody's head is blown up. Oh, is it going to be the next Kwame Nkrumah? All these people, you people keep falling for that trick all the time. Then he stops that dam. 40 years later, how many people have died? How many people have died? You people never hold military accountable. And then this is how we start, the West. But Buhari did it. And then we are bringing him back in 2015. It's a change, instrument of change. How many people have that man killed? He killed people in the 80s. We say was killing, I'm fighting corruption. I fight corruption. And then look at it. Look at the flooding. Count in Naira how much damages. But that's what we need journalists to be pointing out. Because it's a journalist that showed me the history that this man killed the dam that would have countered the effects coming from Cameroon. But now he's blaming Cameroon. That's all I need from my journalist. But, that's why I'm like, we don't really need Tinubu to sit down with journalists. We don't need the town halls. I don't really worry about Tinubu. Just remind people that there's options. So if Tinubu is not doing what you want him to do for presidency, who's the person that you want to vote for?
There are people who are not as informed as you are.
Yes, and that's why I try to inform them.
You're trying. I know that, but I'm saying that we're not reaching so many people. So we have to reach as many people as possible before they make a decision, because people are making decisions based on their personal interest.
I know, based on personal interest, based on religion, based on who chop agbado, who have paraga, they will make their decisions. Who go to my church, but I will still tell you whether in English, in pidgin English. My guy, you not get options. Me, I know they fall for this trick. Me, I know they fall for the trick. That's all.
All right, let's welcome people like Paul. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you and good morning.
The Blackstone, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and good evening from here. Good
And
morning.
one man went. Where did one man went to? Welcome to the show. We can't hear you, one man.
Oh, sorry. I said I'm sure you know where one man went to, but I'm good to be here.
All right. All right. So what we are doing is we just finished talking to Kwesi, the Jahbeloved, who is from Ghana, reggae musician, Rastafarian, and we just want to round up with all the other issues going on across Nigeria and Africa. So anybody can pick up any topic. I showed a video of Bola Tinubu speaking, where he said something about El Rufai changing what was rotten to something bad, and people are worried about the campaign, because potentially he could be president. I hope people here know this. He could be
Sorry, are
president.
you identifying that as a misspeak? Are you
No,
identifying what Tinubu said as a misspeak? Are you
I thought I
identifying
had
it
a
as a
question too. Okay.
Oh, you tell me. Everybody can interpret it the way they want. How do you see that?
well, it might well be a gaffe, but then, of course, if you're moving something that is rotten into something that is bad, I would say that is an evolving situation. Would you not?
Evolving from bad to good, or from bad to worse? What
Well,
what what direction?
Is bad a progression from rotten?
I think, well, it depends. Tomato will
How so?
will be bad first before it's rotten.
Well, there you are. So if it's bad first before it's rotten, then if it's already rotten, then it's a progression. So, but really, what it's somewhat of a bit of a it's a space that needs to be left. All this Tinubu has never at any point in time, and you have your history in journalism. Tinubu has never at any point in time been an orator. You know that more than probably anybody on this platform. He has never been an orator. He has always ever spoken in sound bites. Even at his pump, he's only ever spoken in sound bites. And even at his pump, which a lot of people will still say he's still at his pump, he's only ever he always makes gaffes, and he always makes misspeaks, and he always speaks in a slurred sort of manner. So I cannot identify anything that is different from how he has always been. But to the greater point, this fixation on his hand is shaking, oh, he did a misspeak here, and this, that, and the other, I think it's a space that the Labour Party needs to evolve out of, because the politics is moving now towards issue-based politics. So if you followed Tinubu's presentation in Kaduna just yesterday, it was nuanced, it was detailed, and it was policy-led. A lot of content in there, and what people seem to be latching on, especially the Labour Party, seems to be this, oh, he said, oh, from rotten to bad, and that seems to be so that traction has run its course, and the tone of the conversational space within the Nigerian political space is evolving into issues and details and agendas and policies. So that evolution has to take place. So all the brouhaha is handshake and up and down. So that front space has been hard, but people now need to evolve into where the conversation is now. So really that should happen. Otherwise, the train will leave and people will still be there. Brouhaha and flip flopping, his hand they shake, his voice they shake.
Okay, I wanted to play a video of Tinubu when he was governor, and soon after he became
Uh,
governor. But I don't have it handy. But the point is
but,
this:
but,
let me ask one man, because it's very important. We had people who came on this show to complain that the problem with journalism in Africa is that we don't stay on issues. I give an example of what happened in the UK. You sound like you live in the UK, where Johnson had this party he threw, that reporters in the UK did not let that go. They continued to question that until he resigned. So we have these candidates. Example, Tinubu, he's not the only one. We are not sure about his name. We're not sure about his money, source of money. We are not sure about anything about his educational qualification. And we have people who basically are telling the reporters to forget about that. Don't talk about it. Let's talk about the issue. But then, this is a country where we've had a president who disappeared for over 100 days because he was sick. The country is worried that we may repeat the same thing if we have somebody like this win an election and become president. You think it's not legitimate? You think
Well,
that country should move away?
I'll start by saying I'm disappointed by that question. Not the question itself, but the person asking it, because really it disappoints me somewhat. But let me evolve it, then you'll see this disappointment. So, your question is the story of all of them. Is it not? The source of their income is questionable. You are saying you are questioning Tinubu's age. He celebrated his colloquium 70th just not that long ago. So you as a journalist, I'm sure you're aware of that. So if you are querying that, then you might want to go speak to him. If you go back through time and look at pictures of Tinubu, there are several pictures in the company of his team, Aregbeshola, Fashola, Oshibanjo, etc. You will see them just visually in the same age bracket. If as a matter of genetics, he has evolved differently, then that is entirely down to genetics. Who would believe that Charlie Boy is a 70-something-year-old man? He doesn't look a day over 50. That's a matter of genetics. So that's what surprises me about that question. But it is really that conversational space, really, that somewhat before those. So you're not sure about his name. I'm pretty sure he is sure about his name, and really that is all that matters.
Well, are you not? Wait. This is because when we do this job, what we do is we speak on behalf of people. We cannot
No, you
swear.
seem to be pandering to the lowest denominator. That's
No,
what
no,
you seem
no,
to be
you
doing.
are
No way. That's
reducing
not good.
Nigerians to lowest denominator. Anybody has a legitimate reason to question any part of anybody's life, especially if you're looking for political office. If you
Correct.
can show us certificates where you went to primary school, secondary school, and you dismiss these things, and you think it doesn't matter, okay? What it means is that you may like Tinubu, okay? You may like Tinubu now.
Well,
What it
I
means is
don't.
that
But
you are reducing the next person coming up, to run for election 10 years from now, who decide not to even do the minimum because you've accepted because you like this man. We're thinking beyond just one particular person. We saw what happened
okay,
with Buhari,
shall we
and we
address
don't
that
want to
space?
repeat that. Yeah.
Rudolph, shall we
Yeah.
address that space? Because we have to apply the same standards to the whole field. Otherwise, there's a prejudice and there's a bias. So we have to apply the same standards to the whole field. Now, what is the so here with me? Let me sequence it logically for you, and then you tell me where it falls. So what is the requirement of INEC? The requirement of INEC is a baseline of a school certificate. What did Tinubu present? He presented it was a valedictory at University of Chicago or Chicago University, whatever, the state university of that space. It was a valedictory. He went on to work for, I think it was it Deloitte and Touche, one of the big powerhouses, as an achiever, a senior auditor. Went on to work for Mobile as one of their prime auditors. He was going to get a directorship within that space before he decided to go into politics. They did all they could to hold him to that space, but he decided the political turn was his career. So that's the essence of it. If the minimum base is a school sort, and this guy is presenting a distinguished a university certificate with a stellar work history, contrast that with your principal, and I'm sure you will say it's not your principal, but for the purposes of the conversation, let me assume that he is. Contrast that with your principal who presented a school sort for the INEC registration, which is fair enough because that was the minimum bar. It was the political space that forced him out to present his Nnamdi Azikiwe University certificate, which a lot of people said it took him 11 years to get. So out of that political field, Tinubu is probably one of the most educated. Kwakwanso being the most educated, Atiku Abubakar being the second most educated, Tinubu being strongly educated, and your candidate really just barely educated. So I'm not quite sure that's the space you want to explore.
Okay, woman, I want to disagree with some aspects with you. The Tinubu that I know is more or less like an orator. Tinubu take a lot of interview. When I was living in Lagos, there is a show called New Dawn on 10 by ace journalist Fumi Eyoda. Tinubu used to come to Fumi Eyoda every 2 months, and Tinubu grant 1 hour interview December 25th, Christmas Day. Every year, when Tinubu do charity, do domestic work. So I don't understand the Tinubu that you are talking about, that Tinubu does not grant interview, which Tinubu do very well.
I
That is
never
one
said
aspect of it.
Paul.
Yeah.
Hold on first. You are going
I
far.
said the
Okay.
speaking
Hold on,
soundbite.
one man, hold on.
All right.
One man, hold on. So when Tinubu was running to be governor of Lagos State, because the issue didn't start today, and this was the mistake we made that time. When he ran to be governor of Lagos State, he filled a form, INEC form, okay, where he said his primary school and secondary school and his university. They all turned out to be wrong. None of them is right. No, the primary school was wrong, the secondary, and the media questioned him. Remember, this was happening. This was happening at the same time that the former speaker, they found out that the speaker of the house put a fake certificate from Toronto University. So that one left. So when it came the time of Tinubu, because this is not like the media is speaking on one particular person. Tinubu found out that his primary school was wrong, secondary school was wrong, university was wrong, okay? And they were putting pressure on him. Even Ganifa Omi went to court. What the court ruled was that because he's already sworn in as
And
governor,
Festus Kiamu was his lawyer.
yeah, as governor, that there's nothing the court could do to remove him. That the only people that could remove him were the people in his state assembly. So this is the man that lied everything from primary, even the university. He didn't say Chicago State University, he said University of Chicago. And then some years after.
It's a very heavy allegation to make to accuse somebody of lying. That's and I hope you're able to prove that.
Let's not interfere, please. Let one person speak.
All right. So let me just let's go back to other conversation. I would like you to, maybe you can come on another time when we have more time to talk about this.
Can I say something and leave, please?
Go ahead. Roman,
please, CM, is this? Yes. What I want to say is, let me.
CM, just hold on.
Please.
I want to go.
Please, I know I'm also going. What I want to say is this, because when we are on this type of platform, the world is listening. Yeah. So the way I do my own is because I'm sure of my facts, I bet on it. Rudolph, you will be the witness. One man is in UK, I'm in UK. I'm betting £100 that P2B attended University of Nigeria and Soka and not Nnamdi Azikiwe University, like he said. Number two, I'm betting another £100 that P2B attended University of Nigeria and Soka between 1980 and 1984, 4 years, not 11 years, and he had Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy, second class lower. One man said, it took me 11 years to achieve. So all we need to do is University of Nigeria and Soka will confirm it. So £200 for these facts. One man, are we having a deal?
Look, let me just respond to that. It's a bit of a misnomer. I'm not quite sure. It's a non sequitur. What you're doing is a non thing. You know, whether Peter Obi went to Nzuka or he went to wherever, he went to one of the southeastern universities. That is the broader point. And whether he came out with it took him significantly longer than it should have taken him. That is also an established fact. The quality of his education is
so no, excuse me. This is my time. Please, this is my time. You can't bamboozle me. This is my time.
Okay, then I'll stop.
BA philosophy takes 4 years. Bachelor of the through JAMB. BA philosophy at Nsoka takes 4 years. P2B was at Nsoka 1980 to 84. That's what I'm saying. If you said 11 years, so if be a man, let us bet on it. £100. You said Nnamdi Azikiwe University. I'm saying University of Nigeria and Soka. They are two different things.
Sorry,
they are two different. So if you know your facts, don't deny it, because this is recorded. This is a challenge. The world is hearing us. So £200. Let's go and let's go and verify that. If you can't do that, I have nothing to do with you. I don't like people telling lies. I don't like people fabricating things. University of Nigeria and Nsukka is different from Nnamdi Azikiwe University. You are learned. You should know the difference. Bachelor's degree, 4 years is different from 11 years. When you say Peter Obi spent 11 years, everybody here is a witness. Peter Obi spent 4 years. So if you know what you are, if you want your weight in gold, I want us to bet 200 pounds, which is I should have said 1 million, but I just want to make it 200. So I don't tell lies. I don't tell lies. Everybody is hearing me. 4 years. 4 years. 4 is different from 11. 4 is different from 11.
Everybody, hold on.
Be lying to
Let Roman talk.
Roman, I'll come to you. Let me hear one man, because some people are saying remove him. I don't believe in that.
Well, no, they always say that.
This is the point.
This man is a bad man. He's one of the people to pay. This guy is one to more. There's anything good in Nigeria. He's one of the paid guys.
Can you hold on, please? All right. One man, hold on. Everyone, hold on. Calm down. Okay. This is what I believe. One man has his own view. Okay. Whether I think it's right or wrong is his view, and I think he has the right to hold his view. But when he comes to a public forum and airs a viewpoint, okay, he deserves to be challenged, and in a proper way and good way. And he deserves to be able to give him the chance to respond to the questions and the concerns. So people raise some issues, and I want to respond to CM. Okay, quietly, everybody will get a chance. Go ahead.
All right, I'll respond to CM, and then I'll be quiet, of course, out of respect for your platform. But on my pathway to CM, I want to acknowledge Pansat, who seems to follow me from every platform to the other, willing and gnashing. So it's in your comment section. He'll start to super chat you in a moment to ask you to kick me out, only because I banned him from my platform. But that's an aside. To CM, look, it's a non sequitur. Whether it's Nnamdi Azikiwe University or University of Nigeria and Nsukka, that is not the broad point. So I'm not quite sure why you're fixated on a non sequitur, on a non-issue. The broader point is that he went to a parochial, just some southeastern university, and in comparison to the rest of the field, he is the least, and I repeat myself, the least educated. And in terms of, and it's not a good presenter as well. Of course, it's somewhat speech impaired, and it doesn't really have.
What of 11 and 4? 11 years and 4 years. Is there a non-sequitur?
Why are you fixating on non-issues? Irrespective of however long it took him, he's the least educated in the field. That's factually the case.
Okay, all right. Okay, so one man, I will have to lay you. I will have to.
What trash is this man talking about?
No, wait. That's okay. Wait. Let's hear from other people.
University of Nigeria Parochial School? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he came here and was trying to say, let's have a debate on issues with the presidential candidate. Let's talk about issues instead of what. Talking about. Anyway, Roman, go ahead.
4 years and 11 years, they can be the same.
I earlier told you it's a little bit charged when you have this.
It's always charged, but it's okay.
And what I say, fortunately for me, one man turned up. I've been on his show.
I don't know him.
Oh, okay. If you really want to get angry, very angry, you try and watch his shows. Okay. So everywhere he goes is the same thing. But a brilliant orator, a good communicator, very intelligent. And because he's here now, one man, I'm sorry, I'll have to leave. Thank you.
All right. Roman, thank you so much. Jude, go ahead.
Honestly, I don't know why we should allow this kind of guy that always come and bring confusion, because if you go to his platform, he's always preaching hate against people that have been working tirelessly to see that this country, Nigeria, moves forward. I don't know where he gets his information from, but imagine Tinubu that this guy is supporting. Tinubu that is a drug addict, somebody that have been convicted, an ex-convict. Tinubu that have stolen everything in Lagos. He literally is the landlord of Lagos. He owns Lagos. Is it this dubious man, a man that have no moral, that has no integrity at all, that cannot even tell of his age? He cannot tell of where he went to school. Nobody knows his parents or background. Nobody knows anything about him. Everything about him is shrouded in secrecy and lies. Is it this kind of man? In fact, thank God that he's removed. Okay, he's still there. Is it this kind of man that this idiot come here to support and then tell that Peter Obi school is parochial school?
Rudolph, you must address that. You must address that. You can't.
University of Nigeria is a parochial school. What school did you attend? I am a graduate of University of Nigeria, Suka. Okay, what school did you attend? Let us come here. Let us bring facts. What school did you attend? What did you graduate from? And you're calling Nigeria, University of Nigeria and Suka, a parochial school?
Imagine.
What kind of brain do you have?
And he's asking somebody to apologize to him. What does he take himself to be? 11 years and 4 years, they are not the same. Just conveying lies. 11 years and 4 years.
These are the people that Tinubu has paid. You know, Tinubu has spent millions of dollars in paying all these most of these internet YouTubers, including this man. He's one of the people that have collected money from Tinubu to come here and be spilling trash in Nigeria. We shouldn't even allow this kind of idiot to come to the platform.
All right, calm down. Good. Okay, dude.
Can you call somebody parochial? What? Let him get out here, sir. Address what?
Hold on, guys.
Address parochial. Yet you said in Suka is parochial. You said University of Nigeria and Suka. You said University of Nigeria and Suka is parochial. You said University of Nigeria and Suka is parochial.
If you are using it,
okay. I beg. I need to go. So let me just speak quickly.
Don't go. I like this.
Oh no. I have to roll outside.
Okay,
Doctor Ebilokon. Doctor Ebilokon.
Hold on, because let me. I if you don't raise your hand, I won't call you to speak. And please, when someone is speaking, don't speak, no matter what they say. Okay, no matter what they say, it's me that will call you to speak, and then you speak. I want this. Let this be an experiment, because I believe one man, whatever he believes in, he has the right to speak. Okay, and anybody should respond to him, and they have the right to speak. And I always say to people, be respectful. This is seen all over the world. I can't take out anything you say here. This is part of who you are. Whatever you are saying, whether you are making up things, it's part of who you are. This is how people will perceive you. So one man, I have no idea who you are. I've never seen you, but I welcome anybody to the platform and let you speak. And hopefully you let other people speak. Raf, go ahead.
Okay, so I need to go. So, yeah, I agree. People have their opinions, and we need to learn how to. You can't change. Like my English teacher in GSS2 used to say, you can't teach your grandmother how to eat boiled egg. So, calling one man names, it won't solve anything. With that being said, there's something that one man said that just made me laugh. It speaks to my point of inferiority complex that many of us suffer from. I don't understand why your presidential candidate needs to go to a school in America or in the UK to qualify to be president. You're talking about building your education in your country, and you are disqualifying somebody who attended school in your country from qualifying to be president, as that's his disqualification. I'm like, are you serious? Somebody cannot even tell you his real name. He cannot tell you where he was born. He cannot do the basics. Cannot even tell you how his 25-year-old daughter in my borough of Brooklyn, without a job, owns a $2.5 million apartment. But you are saying this man attended school in east of Nigeria, and you are downgrading the school in eastern part of Nigeria. But you come on, I'm pretty sure you are one of the people who be saying Nigeria is the giant of Africa. So what giant are you, sir? I'm sure you're older than me. So are you one of those that we claim Nigeria is a giant of Africa? So what exactly is it? What is your criteria? You must go to school in America or go to school in China, go to school then. Why are we spending money building universities? Don't build any university, Abi. We don't need to have universities, because if somebody attends a university in Nigeria and they are not qualified to be president, what's the point?
All
I
right.
can't fall for your tricks. I know your tricks, so I know chaos agents when I see it. It's just so funny for you.
Thank you. No. One man, no, not yet.
No, no, no.
One man. You have to listen to them. When they are finished, you can respond. Okay.
No, I don't
All right.
One man. Don't speak unless I say you should speak, please.
All right.
Paul, go ahead.
All right. So I'll be listening in the background. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So when one man said this thing, I think maybe he grew up in the Southwest and then live all his life in the Southwest, and somewhere along the line he find himself in UK. Maybe he didn't really know the history well of University of Nsukka. That university is what we call University of Nigeria. That's our prestigious first university in Nigeria, as the case may be. You understand? Started the plan before the independence and after the independence that raised great brains. It is the dream of anybody who want to say, if we want to use it in the American way, our Ivy League universities. University of Nsukka, University of Ibadan, Ile-Ife, Ahmadu Bello University. You cannot pick 5 universities and not call University of Nsukka. It's a slip of tongue. So I don't know where you are getting it. Please, if you are using a smartphone, do a research about that university before you come here and say this kind of thing. How would Tinubu contest 1998 when he was running for election in 1998? He presented a secondary school certificate. Then fast forward now, he's coming for president, he's presenting a university certificate. And they asked him, what about the secondary school certificate that you present the other time? You said it's missing and you cannot go obtain it back. Even though Nigerians fought Buhari, as the case may be, Buhari ended up even produces Cambridge and SchoolSat. How come? Come on. Do you know the meaning of a political position? You are a servant to the people. The people have a right to answer questions. You don't look down on people. You don't talk down on people. It's as simple as that. That is the question they're asking you. You once present this secondary school certificate. We are asking you back. We are asking you questions. Where are your primary school friends? Where are your primary school friends? Where are the people you school with? What primary school do you attend? Is that too much of a question to ask? After all, 1998, you said you went to University of Chicago. You understand? With late Ganifa Oyemi, take it up, and only for it to change to state. And he lost the case because he's already a governor. Immunity covered him, and the status of assembly couldn't do nothing. That's how he managed those tenure and everything. It's not a big question. They have a right. Then if you are talking about issue-based, is that not the issue-based that we keep asking Peter Obi all these things, that Peter Obi keep giving us details and analysis? You understand? Then we'll talk issue-based. Is your candidate doing the issue-based? Is he talking anything to us? Other than what you just come out to say, this is what I will do, this is what I will do. Has any one of them take their time to explain how do we go about what they want to do? I'm asking this question. This same Tinubu that you are talking about, when Tinubu came to power, Tinubu granted an interview with Fumi Yoda. He said it clearly. He said, when I ran away 1993, I was driving cab in the US. That is ground zero level. That is minimum wage job. How did Tinubu now successfully and take the position of a governor, successfully become a multi-billionaire, living in Bodilon? Do you know what is called Bodilon? Living in Bodilon. Where did he make his money from? Is that too much of a question to ask? Is that a sentimental question? I'm asking.
All right, Paul.
Educate me so that I can learn.
Paul, thank you. One man, I'm not still letting you speak because other people listen to you. So you listen to them. If you need a pen, take notes of what they're saying. You can respond to them. But you are not speaking until you hear all of them. Go ahead, James.
Yes, thank you. Let us try to simplify what we are doing. I think it was a slip of tongue, and you should tender an apology to whosoever is asking for it. One thing I want him to know is this. There's nobody here who is not literate. Before I come online in this office, look at the papers in front of me. I browse the internet carefully to make sure of whatever fact I'm dishing out to the whole world, because the whole world is looking at us. I'm used to citing examples from other African countries. These are places I've lived in, and whatever I know there, I check it online before coming to tell you before I even quote any figure, date. From any African country, I make sure I verify my facts. So please, we should try to make this gathering, I mean, we should try to make it as academic as possible. Even in the arts subject, I mean, the arts discipline these days, like literature and what have you, they are trying to go scientific because they verify their facts meticulously before they put pen on paper and dish out the facts to members of the public. So this gentleman should please be kind enough, should be humble enough to apologize to those who attended the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I did not attend Nsukka, so I don't need apology. So that's it. Thank you so much indeed.
All right, thank you. Who else? The Blackstone. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Rudolph.
I'm here.
Who is saying you're here? Vin? Go ahead, the Blackstone, okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rudolph. Actually, we have to respect everybody on this platform, and we have to come out with facts. Everybody support different candidates in this coming election, and that does not mean that we should come out with wrong facts or wrong figures, right? If you talk of Peter Obi, I think he's one of the most educated of all of them. Go to the Labour Party website and look at his profile. You see all his education, all the universities that are attended, and all his certificates. The candidate is the most qualified of all the candidates, right? And also there's an issue I see in the Nigeria this present campaign, because now the talk is, they are saying issue based. When did Nigeria start having campaigns based on issue based? Because they are trying to shield out people from digging out the facts concerning each candidate. And they know that once the fact comes out, it will dent the image of this candidate. Let us not forget what Tinubu did to Jonathan that brought in Buhari, right? So why are they not trying to remove those facts? Try to say, this should be issue-based, right? A person that's going for the office of the president must have integrity, must be clean, must be up to that task. Nigeria is a complex society, so we are not willing to vote in somebody who become worse than the present president and say, yes, I deserve it. Because he deserves it, then he has the vote. Let's not try and begin to give out wrong information about people because of your supporter. Let us bring out the facts and let the people, the electorate, let understand these facts, that they can be able to make a choice for themselves, right? So that we in the next president will be able to work. Will be somebody that is being trusted, that can be held responsible for all these activities in power. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Maxwell.
Thank you so much, Dr. Damages. You see, one man, my brother. Good evening. I would like to tell you that my mom is from the southeastern part of Nigeria, and the school you called parochial is one of the best schools, and in fact, the first university that was established in Nigeria. I don't believe that school will be, termed to be parochial. That is way below the belt. I must confess to you. You see, in democracy, everybody must have his or her say. And the way and manner you present it, shows who you are. Look, my people, a precedent has been set. If you can allow a man whose only qualification is affidavit to be your president, championed by this same man now, whose qualification is questionable, then you don't have no right to question this man that is coming in here now. If Buhari, who he championed, was not barred from becoming your president with an affidavit certificate, I don't know the reason why anybody should question Bola Ahmed Tinubu for having no qualification, or showing it evidently proven that he attended most of those schools he claimed that he attended, apart from the one in Chicago. And for you all, this man has a very bad past, very horrendous past. He was convicted in the state of Chicago. He forfeited. In fact, I don't know, but it is fact. It is there. If you go to the Chicago, court processes, and you will see those documents there. It's not hidden. I wonder what one man will say if Peter Obi or Atiku or Sowore was involved, convicted, and made to forfeit most of his money and properties in Chicago for drug dealing. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right. So, Bumi, welcome to the show. Bumi, can you unmute yourself?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to see. Maybe because you're here now, people will calm
yes,
down.
I am.
People will calm down. So, have you been watching?
Yes, I have. I have been watching.
Okay. All right. So, what is your take? Do you have any question, any comment?
My take, especially, I'm just going to talk about how election is being run in Nigeria.
Okay.
And I think Nigerians, when it comes to election, we don't really look for the best. We just look for the bare minimum. And in a comment to what Mr. One Man said, he said something about rotten and bad, and basically comparing the present president to whoever is going to come. And I realized in Nigerian state, we don't need a bad president. We need the best president that we could ever have, because Nigeria is sinking, and we cannot just get someone who's just going to keep it afloat for like 2 seconds. We need someone who's going to take it to the destination. And we cannot start looking for little things. We really need to ask, is this person competent enough to actually take us there? And I know people say it's politics, but your politics really tells you your morals and how you as a person see other people. So we need to really stop thinking about tribe or religion and start asking, do we actually trust this person with our own future? Like, can you actually give let's say your children's life to this person, and you're 100% sure this person is going to take care of your children? Because that's what we're doing. Like, whoever leads the country is who's going to take us to the better place. And another thing is, no matter who we vote for president, us Nigerians, we need to stand up and actually make sure we hold them accountable. Because let's say we vote another bad president, but the only thing that changes is us being able to like say, okay, this person is not good for the job, we take them out. Because if you look at someone like Buhari and all the past presidents, the only reason we keep on getting people like that continuously because we do not punish those people. So then they come into power and they realize no one's going to punish me, and they continue that cycle. So I don't mind if someone like Tinubu gets into power. Mine is if Tinubu doesn't do the job, we are able to take someone like that out. We don't let him stay for 4 years. No. Also, Peter Obi, if you don't trust Peter Obi, as long as you're able to actually hold him accountable and say, you're not doing the job, get out. And that's what we all need to do. Because at the end of the day, we cannot trust anyone. We're all humans. They can give you the certificate from America, Australia. If they want to be bad, they'll be bad. But we need to stand up and actually say, like, do the job right. So that's all I have to say.
Rudolph, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Bumi, for that presentation. you so much. Man of prestige, you're next. Oh, all right. So he's gone. All right. So man of prestige. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear
Can you?
me?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I had a interruption on my phone. Yeah, nice to be here. I was here earlier. What was it? I mean, I left. No, we had a guest earlier, so that round already finished. Are we just talking about general topic? What are we talking about?
Yeah, general topic. Go ahead. We are talking about general topic. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So let me talk about the present political situation in Nigeria right now. So I don't know what's the update about Nnamdi Kanu, if he's going to be released or not released. So I don't know what's going on. So I guess we're still waiting. I tried to get an update because as of today, earlier they said, like I said yesterday, remember when I came to here yesterday, and I mentioned that the General Council, the Security Council and Buhari, had a meeting. So they tried to determine what's going to be the outcome about Nnamdi Kanu. So I was right. As of today, they have decided that Nnamdi Kanu is not going to be released. They are siding with Malami, about the outcome that is going to be appealed to the Supreme Court. So, like I said yesterday, I think everything is being orchestrated. They know what they are doing. They're probably going to release him during the election, just to sabotage Obi, or the other party, the other two parties. This is APC orchestrated. They want to win the election by any means necessary. So I think Nigeria, you all need to be strong. Don't let don't take a bet from what they are trying to do. The Southeasterners, I think that's their main goal right now. So maybe there won't be an election. They try to propagate others on non-comment, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I'm quite confident. But anyway, so go ahead with other topic. I just got in here trying to finish up what I'm doing.
All right.
Maybe you can call me back again. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So let's give one man a chance to respond to all the people that said something. Hold on one man before you speak. CM, what's going on? CM.
Just a follow up because before one man responds, you see, I'm particular as a person. I'm particular about the issue of character assassination. So one man add this to what we are going to bring. Do you have a proof that P2B spent 11 years to get a bachelor's degree? That's a simple question.
Sorry, do I have the floor or
No,
is it?
no,
Wait.
I
finished. I'm not finished. I'm just asking. Just take
Okay,
note. Calm yourself down.
CM,
We are not in a motor park. Just take it easy.
CM, hold on, okay? The reason why I don't want us to, we're not revisiting this. After one man speaks, and that's it. We go to something else. So, and hopefully there won't be need for that to respond. So that's why I want CM to add whatever he needed to add to what he's saying. Okay? Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I said the first question is, do you have a proof that P2B spent 11 years to get a bachelor's degree? That's the first, very simple question and very clear. The second question is, University of Nigeria and Nsukka is the university P2B attended and not Nnamdi Azikiwe University. If you have a proof that it is not University of Nigeria and Nsukka, it is Nnamdi Azikiwe, please present it. The third question is, the word parochial means that something is of a limited outlook or scope. So do you have evidence to show, to prove that University of Nigeria and Nsukka,
University of Nigeria, you have to allow him to finish, please.
Please, let's not be toggery now. Let's pretend to be civilized. So do you have evidence that University of Nigeria and Nsukka, because you say it's parochial, that is having, parochial means limited or very narrow scope. So present the evidence. That's all I want. I don't believe in character assassination. Defeat me on facts. Thank you.
All right. So one man, before you speak, let me just make this clear again, because I'm seeing a lot of comments. Someone posted a comment saying that Adiola verified that Tinubu went to University of Chicago. That was not true. I mean, it's easy to misunderstand these things, especially for people who, I don't know where that person lives. Maybe you live in Nigeria. There's a difference between University of Chicago and Chicago State University. You know, that one you can pardon that. But if someone is mixing University of Nigeria and Soka with Nnamdi Azikiwe University, it's not, I don't see the reason why, you know, it's not pardonable. But anyway, I just wanted to make that clear. So one man, you can respond to them.
All right, I'm just going to disregard everything that CM said just out of hand. It's plural, it's jeune, it's a complete non sequitur, a total non-issue. So I have no truck with that. But what I did want to draw attention to, Rudolph, and this happened twice, the chap to the right of the screen, twice he called me an idiot, and twice I called your attention to it, and twice you did not address it. So is that the tone that this platform runs by? Because I'm not very good at insulting people because I'm not very good at guttural language, but I was expecting you to pull it up, but you did not. So that as well. So that's to you, Rudolph, but to the brothers' place. So Nnamdi Azikiwe University of Nigeria, and Zuka, that is irrespective and immaterial. It's a bit like saying Tinubu said 50,000 instead of 5 million. And then that is a hub that you want to build a foundation on. A non sequitur, completely plural, absolutely jeune. So disregard that at a hand, as I often do most of the things that CM has to say. But to the wider space, look, we have to judge people by the same standards. We have to, because otherwise it makes a fallacy. The righteous indignation and the the chest out or this element of do you know what University of Nigeria is, etc., etc. Of course, University of Nigeria and Zuka is a premium university within the Nigerian space. But if you go to the Times of London, there is a hierarchy of global universities that list them almost A to Z. And in the hierarchy of tertiary learning, the university that what's his name, Peter Obi went to, is of a lower ranking than the rest of the field. Sowore is better educated, Kwakwanso is better educated, Tinubu is better educated, and Atiku Abubakar. These are factual things. So why are we even? So these are plural, completely jeune, non sequitur, non-issue, and absolute categorical, something that should not be contended with. But the wider space of what is the source of his fortune, what is this and that and the other, that is the story. Listen, that is the story of every single candidate in the field, bar Sowore and Adewale, the SDP guy. Bar those two chaps, the story of everybody running for the Nigerian presidency is a story of what is the source. Peter Obi, I'm sure you know, Rudolph, he was captured in the Pandora Papers, the only Nigerian politician by my reckoning, and I invite somebody to correct me, I'm sure I'm wrong, but he was captured when he was setting up shell companies in a tax money laundering haven in the Seychelles during the mid-term of his tenure. So let's not get too caught up with this. His name was mentioned in the Dasuki 2 billion scandal. So his name is there as well. So let's not get too carried away. And his record in Anambra, completely pedestrian if you're being generous, a complete absolute failure if you're not. So let's stick with the facts of it. Tinubu is a criminal, yes, of course, a categorical grade 1 criminal. The only person more criminal than Tinubu in Nigeria is probably Babangida. But he's a criminal. And is he fit for purpose? Absolutely not. Should Tinubu be the president of Nigeria? Categorical no. Is there a better option than him? That is subjective. So show me who he is. It's a very unpatriotic thing, the idea that somebody like Peter Obi, who is very pedestrian in presentation, very low functioning. You know, the internally generated revenue of Anambra State, it excelled under Ngige, excelled under Obiano, but only moved by single digits under Peter Obi. There's absolutely categorically no marquee achievement that is attributable to this character, and then people are trying to rebrand him. He's just presented the spokesperson for the Nigerian army during the NSAS space, the person that was trying to justify the massacre of June of October 2020 as a spokesperson. If any other candidate had done that, they would have slaughtered him. They excused that. Did he not know? So all of these things we have to give consideration to. But all this righteous indignation that he did look 11 years, well, I don't care about 11 years. I don't care if I mistook Nnamdi Azikiwe for UNN, etc. Those are not things. Those are not germane issues that agitate a functioning brain. And my brain, I like to deceive myself, functions. So
All
I'm
right.
not save
All
myself
right.
with that.
Thank you, one man. You did well. Thank you so much for responding. We move on. And
I like your style. Everything we say, you say you don't care, but you want us to care with your false information. Thank
no,
you.
we're not going back to this. Thank you so much. I also invite you to come back on Saturday. We have longer time to stay on this show. We would like to actually engage you, and our people, most of our people, will join. You know, we have strong people. Some of them are not here. They will be there, and we can engage you and have conversations because this is the point. One man is one man, but there are many one men everywhere, you know. And if you don't engage the one man you see here, there's one man somewhere else in the Jabode, in Akwanga, wherever in the world, in Sokoto.
Mr. Rudolph.
So yeah,
There's
Mr.
one
Rudolph.
there's one CM here. There's one CM here.
There's one CM here. There are many CMs everywhere. So the point
Mr.
is that
Rudolph.
everybody, yeah, who's speaking?
Mr. Rudolph, it's fine. If I'm
Maxwell,
actually, I just want to say something, then I go. I want to attend to my people.
Okay.
You see, one thing you should understand is this.
We're not going back to one man thing. Talking general.
No, yes. I just want to say something. He's my friend.
Example. Yeah, you see.
He's my friend. He's my friend, and I do attend his programs and so on and so forth. You see, when Rudolph wants to kill you, he will give you time and a long rope to speak, and that you use the long rope to tie yourself. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to round up. Today is Sunday, and we have a lot of activities. I really appreciate all the people that joined us today. Bumi, thank you so much for coming. You know, we don't know who will come on the show. You just open like it's a market. You know, people walk in and say wonderful things. We appreciate everybody. But let me just say one last word from parting words. CM, I'll go around. CM, you start. Nothing about one man, but general sentence. You know, we're rounding up.
Anyway, well, the thing is, to be honest, Rudolph, this is a great comic relief. But one thing I must say is this: when somebody says Peter B is low functioning, that is not an insult in the dictionary of that person. When you say University of Nigeria and Soccer is parochial, it's a parochial university. That is not insult. That's supposed to be condoned by Rudolph or this platform. When you assassinate somebody's character that the person spent 11 years to get a 4-year degree, that is never insult. That is not character assassination. It should be welcomed. That person should be gallanded, the person who said it. When you say somebody attended Nnamdi Azikiwe University instead of University of Nigeria and Soccer, you do not even have respect for facts. That one should be condoned. Anyway, as far as I know. Thank you, Rudolph, for providing us with a comic relief. Let me continue my laugh. Thank you.
All right, thank you, James. Yes, round up, last words. We're now coming back to you again.
Yes, okay. Let me conclude by reading out a list. Just give me some few minutes. I want to prove that to be a good leader does not necessarily depend on your academic qualifications or how many degrees you are holding. Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe is holding 7 university degrees, including masters. The president of Togo son of Yadema, is holding an MBA degree. Salif Johnson of Liberia, former president, Master of Public Administration. Anema Gurib of Mauritius, PhD degree in organic chemistry. Alassane Ouattara of Ivory Coast, PhD degree in economics. Atom Mutharika of Malawi, LLM degree and LLB. Mohamed Ifit of Morocco, PhD degree in law. Then on the other side of the coin, Denis Suso Nguesso of Congo attended the Teachers College. Mohamed Ould Dada of Mauritania, no high school education, he attended military school. Esas Afwareki also of Eritrea High School. Paul Kagame of Rwanda, attended Old Kampala Secondary School in Uganda. Yaya Jammeh of the Gambia, where I live here, is a high school dropout. Adama Barrow, the present president of the Gambia, is a high school dropout. Jacob Zuma of South Africa did not even attend primary school. He has no alma mater. So it shows that to be a leader, you don't need university degrees, because even the PhD degree holders, they are not doing better than those who never attended good schools. What's his name? John Major of England is a high school graduate. He was a prime minister in England. So why all this hula baloo over university degrees? But I still insist that this guy needs to apologize to those who attended the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and they deserve the apology. I attended the University of Lagos, so I have no need for apology. So that's all.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Jude, you're next.
Well, CM Punk has said most of the response I would like to give this guy, because when you are...
That's not what we're doing anymore.
Yeah, I said that I'm not going back to there. That's what I'm saying. You know, but when people are using certain words, they feel that they're entitled to it, and they can, and that everybody should buy into that. But anyway, I would say if we, in any organization that strive for the best, or to attain the highest functionality and profitability in that organization, they go for the best to move them to that, to achieve that particular goal. And in electing a president of a country, of any country, it shouldn't be exception. Okay, because that is the highest position in the land that requires not only intellect, but above all, require character. Character. Okay, you can't elect a thief and expect your money to be safe. Okay, you can't elect a murderer and expect people to be safe. You can't elect a hooligan, an ex-convict, and expect the judiciary, you know, to function and people to have justice in the land. Look at the person we elected as the president in Nigeria, Buhari. What have we gotten? The man is a terrorist, terrorizing Nigerians, killing Nigerians, averting justice. Nnamdi has been discharged and acquitted by their own courts, by the judges they appointed. And yet, this is how many days they still kept him there. And that is the kind of people that we are electing as government. And that's the kind of society we want to live. And people will have the boldness to come out and be defending this kind of leadership. I don't know. Nigeria amuses me.
All right, Jude. Thank you.
It doesn't happen. I've never seen it happen in any part of the world since I was born. It's sad.
Thank you, Jude. The Blackstone. Blackstone, you're muted.
Okay. What I want to say that most of us on this platform now, we are in diaspora. We're all living abroad. And we have been affected by the lifestyle, the attitude, what we see here, what we experience actually have an impact in our life. And we are beginning to have a new perspective to how a country should be governed, to how a country should function. But it still baffles me that some of us doesn't want to take such thing or what we are learning back to our country. I'm surprised that today Nigeria, most of us in diaspora still play tribal politics, play religious politics, right? We are supporting people because it's from my people, it's my tribe, it's my religion, for this and this reason, which where we live in, it does not happen, it does not take place, it does not occur. We should know that Nigeria is in dying. In fact, some people says in emergency, in emergency room, right? 2023 election, we determine a lot of things in Nigeria. So we have to be very careful in educating our people back home and to make them to make the right choice, right? So we all know who we support. We all know who we are going for. But let us not forget that our choices will either change the country or destroy the country the more. So let us remove sentiment. Let us remove tribal sentiment or anything that we resort to, again, people voting in the wrong person come 2023. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Paul, you're next.
Yeah, doctor, I will do a follow-up. Somebody said Peter Obi did not really do well in Anambra State, but Peter Obi left the state with surplus in forex that Nigeria is doing everything to get. In fact, do you know right now, as broke as Nigeria is, if I send $1 to Nigeria, the Nigerian government will dash me 5 naira. Right now, that's how it is. If you send $1, they even dash you money because of you are bringing the forest that they're looking for. And Peter Obi left surplus of that same forest. You know, we all know Chris Igige did well, but he rigged the election to the state and he left. He did well. And Obi followed his footsteps because for Igige to fight the godfather that put him there, Obi followed the footsteps. Obi did great in that state. He did so many things. And another governor that somebody is also clamoring for, you understand, left the state with a lot of debt. Everything that he did, never see the end. But all he said, I am the one, I am the one, I am the one. It's like my mother sent me to primary school and I sent myself from secondary school to PhD. But my mother that started the foundation will take all the old glory. My own hard work don't count. That is the Nigeria some people want. Oh, Bola Tinubu did this and that. We saw what he did with somebody like Jokotola Pelumi when he was governor in 1999. He kicked him out. He was the one that brought this guy. We saw what he did with Femi Pedro, his former deputy governor. He kicked him out. We saw what he did with the former governor again and everything. This kingship and everything, he has all the power to be a king in Osun State or Lagos State. Let him go and be a king. The position of a president has come and gone. Thank you.
All right, thank you. One man. I know what.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. But you know, I've been somewhat amused, before the little bit I have to say by this session. It wasn't at all entirely as I was expecting it to go. And the one thing that did surprise me, the first that surprised me was when that guy was hurling insults at me, and you didn't pull him back. So that surprised me somewhat. But the second thing that surprised me is you say that you don't know who I am, even though you've been following me for the last 2 years. So that surprised me as well. And I innovated this format which you're using as well. But let's set all of that to one side and let's go frontally to the issues. You know, this Peter Obi narrative is something that has to be vested in truth and fact. It has to be vested in truth and fact. Anambra State is not a middle-of-the-road non-entity state. It's not some abstract state like Yobe or Kebbi that has nothing going for it. It's one of the middle-ranking states in Nigeria. Anambra, Peter Obi governed that space for a good 8 years, By his own admission, he handled well in excess of ½ trillion naira. Listen to that and condense it, and you may even want to convert it to hard currency just to know the volume of that money. By his own admission, he handled well in excess of ½ trillion naira. So, what impact, what legacy is there in Anambra now that is commensurate with a ½ trillion naira spent and that speaks to this legacy that people attribute to Peter Obi? They said he built some obscure hospital. Maybe he did, maybe he did not. But the one thing they always say is that he took education from X to 1, that he progressed what was already going on. So that educational evolution within Anambra State is not attributable directly to Peter Obi, no. He may well be the one that pushed the last push, but certainly categorically not attributable to Peter Obi. If you want to give the attribution to the educational transformation in Anambra State, you want to be looking to the north and you want to be looking to Adamawa State. You want to give that attribution to Atiku if you want to know who transformed education in Anambra. So go and do your research. What birthed the transforming of education in Anambra is Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar single-handedly removed Mbaneju, who was the governor that was forcing the renation of that state. And why did he do that? He visited that state as the vice president of Nigeria. All the schools were shut. All the children were on the streets. Their lives were being ruined. And he went with the determination to Obasanjo to say that I'm going to take this on as a special project. And he effected the removal of Mbaneju, which then evolved the educational space. That was the transformation that started. Ngige picked it up, and then Peter Obi perfected it. So the attribution, there is nothing in Anambra State that is directly attributable to. It did not expand the economic space. It did not grow the IGR. There are no marquee achievements that is attributable. Look
All
at
right, all
some.
right. All right, one man, thank you. Thank you. I know you can go on and on. Thank you so much. I really
All right, it's been a pleasure.
yeah,
Thanks.
just so you know, on Saturday, if you have the time, please join us. Okay, we'll have more
Only
time.
if you can ensure respect and people don't insult me like that guy did. And
Well, I mean, people insult other people. It's all right. You can deal with that. I mean, you're a strong man.
no, you are
I
the
know you can deal with
moderator.
that. All right, but I wish that if you can come and join us next Saturday, anytime, come in and we will welcome you. But truthfully, I don't know you. If I follow you, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not kidding.
Right,
I don't
doesn't
know,
matter.
but it's
All right,
okay. It's okay. I would like you to come back. Yeah. Bumi, you're next.
I just want to say that Nigeria is fortunate enough to have multiple political parties, unlike America that only has two. So for Nigerians only voting for the three major ones over, or is it the two major ones over and over again, and seeing that nothing is changing is unfortunate. And I hope that we would look at, I think they're like 20 something, we look at all the 20 something political parties and actually try and find someone that we think would help us. And like I've said over and over again, no matter who we vote for presidency next year, we need to hold them accountable. That's the only way. We have cultivated a culture whereby everyone keeps on stealing and stealing and stealing, that it's actually hard to find someone with a clean plate, because everyone has been doing some kind of corruption or one kind way from day one. From go back to your secondary school, none of us, we say we're all clean. So we need to start changing that and start holding people accountable. No matter the political candidate, everyone's going to find one thing they did 7 years ago that was good or not good, but it's up to us to hold them accountable. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Bumi, and you're welcome to the program anytime. Okay, a man of prestige, Ernest.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. My first submission is going to be a question. then I will conclude by giving my summary. The guy that you brought earlier, is he gonna come back?
Who? The musician?
Yeah.
You want him back?
Well, I wanted to ask him more questions, in the area, because I'm big on economy and entertainment. I love entertainment, so it seems to be very vast in that area when it comes to Nigeria.
All right, next time we'll bring him back. Yeah, we're trying to expand our reach.
Okay, thank you very much, Rudolph. Yeah, I'm completely obedient. Okay, I have no quarrel with that. So I'm doing everything to support Obi. So anybody can take it or leave it. But anyway, I just want to point out something here that Obi has assembled what I consider to be an outstanding spokespeople that's going to challenge Kiyomo or that kind of PDP, APC. So they should get ready for the kind of people Obi has appointed to be the 4 people he has appointed for his spokespeople. These people, I call them the Avengers, who are ruthless to their core, an ability to transcend and turn information around. So you need to watch out for them. And I'm going to give you 4 of the people that he has appointed. One of them is what is it? You make Faith from South. You have Kenneth Okonkwo from Southeast. You have Dele Farotim from Southwest.
Wait, Dele Farotimi?
Yeah, he's the one that's going to be.
He's coming on the show on Sunday.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
he's coming on this show on Sunday. What?
Oh, great.
I didn't know that.
The guy, he's very outstanding. And the 2 ladies from Northeast and I think Yunusua Tank from Northwest, the 5 people, I think it's 5 actually he appointed. They are very outstanding. So people should get ready for them, for them. All those PDP and something they appointed, you should watch out for these guys. That's what I'm going to say. Thank you, Rudolph.
All right, thank you. Forefathers, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rudolph. And greetings to everyone on the panel, the chat, and to the viewers. I'm quite happy that I like the way you handle this channel. You don't overregulate people. And I'm glad that they allowed everyone to air their opinions. Regarding leadership, sometimes we reduce, I think what Bumi said is quite important. We don't need this in mediocrity anymore. We need good leaders, and we also need to be able to hold them accountable. Question is the vehicles we use to hold them accountable, and this is something we have to start looking into now before they get into office. But when they get into office, you don't have much sway over what they do anymore. For me, anyway, they say loyalty is the holiest good of the human heart, and leadership. Great leadership tends to come from there, not necessarily from education, gravitas, and all the rest of it. Because leadership involves making decisions almost every day about life and death of so many people. And there is a reason why most nations are not being run by professors and people that like to think that they're competent in quantum computing and all the rest of it. Because leadership goes beyond that. It involves all aspects of our lives. And if you get the briefing that leaders get every day, then you understand that. And I don't think that some of the terms being used, to describe politicians that actually have proven that their greatest priority is to the people. And I think that is something we have to be careful about, that when we ascribe gravitas and people that have, has all this stuff, but at the same time, very selfish people that prefer to enrich themselves and they prefer to do everything to lead to further decay of the Nigerian state. Such people should be discouraged from getting into office. We should be stripping powers from the system so that the people get the power back. One of the ways we can do it is to make the system transparent. This thing where we say, oh, this guy doesn't have gravitas, this one, it looks like this, like a houseboy. Who cares? The important thing is all the ones that have been looking great and all what where have it gotten us? Nigeria has some of the highest density of professors in Africa. Where has it gotten Nigeria? How we cannot even some people, they have education, they speak big English, they speak everything, they can't, but yet simple wisdom, they can't put 2 and 2 together. What is the point of education if you cannot use it to solve problems? What is the point of competence if the only problem you solve is for yourself? How can people not understand that? And we come here and it drives me crazy. Sometimes when I go on some channels, and all you hear is this type of discussions. Oh, this one said this one backbited this one did this one. Our country is floundering. Why are we having this type of discussions when we should be looking at, okay, we really need to know how to hold these people together. We should be ganging up as a people right now to take control from these people. They are finding unbelievable amounts of pipelines that is being tapped, stealing our oil daily in this country. It's unbelievable the scale at which they are doing these things. Ships are coming in, taking oil away from our country, and people are none the wiser. And we are here having parochial, like they are like to say, discussions about this guy doesn't look nice. This one took long to go to university and all the rest. That would not solve our problems. What will solve our problem is a leader that cares for the people, that puts our people first. The sum of our people is very important. Our wealth should not be filtered away to foreign countries. We should be protecting our interests. And one of the ways we really have to start demanding transparency and demanding security. If we fix those two, because transparency will bring power to the people, security will restore our sovereignty that will allow us to make our own decision, because we have people interfering with our country. We have to stop that from happening so we can solve our own problems. This kind of discussion, it really drives me crazy sometimes when I keep hearing that, like, all this, we've been hearing this for decades. I was in Abiola's compound when he married. I've seen these things happen in Nigeria over and over again. All you can keep hearing is this type of discussions. On and on. We don't have power supply. We don't have this. As if it's some kind of glorified knowledge to say that we don't have power. It doesn't make any difference. We have to start talking about how we are going to solve it. We have to start talking about how we are going to take these things away from them. Because this young generation, they are coming through right now. And this is all we've got left for them. We keep complaining. I ran away to the UK myself. I was one of those people. I left the UK. I am here. I work for how many decades here now? What have I put down in Nigeria? How many things can we say we have put down in Nigeria other than building a house? A house does not restore your country. Clearly, if the houses were restoring our country, we would have been a lot better off by now. Our expertise, our ability to interfere with the system so that we can actually take power away from these people that have been grinding this country to a standstill. Our country is in a standstill, and we are an important country. This is the most populous black country in the world, and we're having conversations about this in people's dressing and education and all the rest of it, when we should be worrying about how we are going to restore all the things that are broken in our system. For me, that is what my focus is. And anytime I hear all this talk about, to me, I don't care about politics in terms of who is in office, the parties in office and all the rest. It's how we can hold them accountable. Because if it's Tinubu, if it's Atiku, it doesn't matter. How you can hold them accountable. Even if Peter Obi gets into office and nobody's able to hold him accountable, believe you me, the ones that are powerful will hold him accountable, and he's going to do their bidding. He's going to do their bidding, because every single day a president is hearing so many things from their ears. Who are the ones that are going to be there and hijack that control of the presidency? We have to hijack the control of the presidency so that they can serve us. They are not serving. They've never been serving us. How do you think pipelines of ships and oil and everything is being stolen from our country? There are a lot of rich people out there right now in Nigeria that have made billions of naira from just stealing our oil on a regular. And how many of them have been arrested now? All we know that they are moving the pipelines and all the rest. For all you know, the ones that they are revealing right now are just a sideshow. Maybe others are going on. When I saw those things, I was like, oh my God. All hell could be happening in Nigeria, and the people are none the wiser. Accountability, transparency is very important. We have to be demanding that we see everything. Where our oils are being drilled from, every single oil field, we need to know them. All universities need to have details of all universities, all oil fields that they have in Nigeria, where they are coming from. The monitoring stations need to not just be in one location. It needs to be spread all around the country. The reason I say these things is because it forestals corruption. Because if you put it in only one location, they can bribe anybody in one location. But if you put them in different organizations, EFCC, military, Air Force, this in army, universities, how many people can you bribe? By the time you bribe them, you are literally paying the whole country. They might as well not steal the oil. We have to make it possible for people to be stealing our resources. This is where I agree with Bumi. We have to seriously start looking deeply into these things, because since I came here, that's what I've been harping on about. Soon, I won't even be saying anything. I will just be repeating this thing over and over again. Yeah, I won't be saying anything. Security, I won't say anything else. Those are the only things I'm talking about.
Thank you, forefathers. I really, you know, when I like this platform, I really can listen to you guys for the rest of my life, you know, and I think that we go beyond that. Hopefully, someone like forefathers will eventually go home and do something, because your view is unique and people are listening to it, and I can tell you that everywhere I go to, you're one of the names I hear from people saying, why are you still in England? You should go home and do these things, you know? So maybe one day you just be annoyed with us and say, know what, I'm going back to Nigeria, and you take off, and we'll follow you and we'll be talking to you when you're there. Kenneth, you're the last person.
Hello, Dr. Damages.
Hi.
Good day, everyone. Sorry I joined late. I was really tense. I was really angry when I was on the background listening to one man. I don't know the complete name there, but he says his name is one man. And I hope he will be listening to me, or come, you know, be able to come back and replay this. I was really angry because I don't know, is he a Nigerian? Sorry, I don't know, because the accent was so good. So now this is it. Overheard him trying to pull P2B down. I, for one, everybody know I'm for P2B, right? And I find it very difficult to kind of assassinate anyone's character. Last time I came against Sowore, because Sowore was all over P2B instead of him minding his business and doing his campaign. But I want to remind one man that Atiku Abubakar was once vice president in the country, and his master, being Obasanjo, told Nigerians that Atiku Abubakar is a criminal. And for his master to have said that, truly is a criminal. And he has shown that, yes, what his master said is true. Because if you go to Dubai, last time a friend of mine was in Dubai, and he had to take his time to go to some of the Atiku's investment in Dubai and make video recordings. As an officer in what they call it, these people that are in the wharf, customs, right? I don't know how he made his money to have acquired such properties in Dubai while he was a custom officer and the vice president. So it means that Atiku Abubakar actually embezzled our money. So he's a criminal. And I also want to hint on what's his name? Tinubu. Between 1988 to 1993, Tinubu and group of drug gangsters were terrorizing Illinois, the Chicago City, and part of Indiana. Tinubu was caught. Tinubu went to jail. Tinubu faced the U.S. courts, and he was indicted as being a drug baron. So Tinubu forfeited over $350,000. So Tinubu is on record that he's a criminal in the United States. United States is not a country where you do whatever you want to do and go free. So in his record here in the United States, I can pull it up with that $5 right now. Tinubu is a criminal. So for Nigerians that are rooting for these criminals, they should ask themselves some questions. Where do Tinubu make his money? As a governor or what? So Tinubu came to Lagos State as a governor. He literally converted the treasury of Lagos State to his family. And this is the same person that brought Buhari and gave to Nigerians. Atiku literally said that Buhari was going to kick Jonathan out of office, and Buhari was going to fix Nigeria. So I want to ask these two main questions. Has Buhari been able to fix Nigeria? Just as Atiku promised Nigerians that Buhari was going to fix Nigeria. And Tinubu told us that he single-handedly brought Buhari to fix Nigeria. Has he been able? So these two people, they have bad sense of judgment. And because they could not reason well to see that Buhari was incapable, Buhari was clueless, and Buhari could not fix Nigeria. So therefore, whatever they are coming up with is not going to work, is not going to fix Nigeria because they have a bad sense of judgment. Again, our sister, Bumi, please do not be offended. I want to correct one impression. I overheard you saying that literally everyone in Nigeria is a criminal. That if we should go back when we were in secondary school or primary school, we did one wrong thing or the other. Yes, when it comes to fighting, I fight. So if that is a crime, I was doing it before. You can't come to me and go free. But when it comes to stealing, I don't think I've ever taken what does not belong to me. I will never do that. If it is the only thing that will save my life and it doesn't belong to me, I have to ask, can I take? I don't steal, and I will never steal, no matter how you paint it. If I'm doing business with you, I'm a businessman. I will use the business acumen to follow you, right? But I cannot steal or take what does not belong to me. So let's not try to, generalize it that every Nigerian is a criminal. No, there are good Nigerians. And among these candidates, the 3 or 4 major candidates, Buhari, Tinubu, Atiku, P2B, Sowore, Kwankwaso, right? I will beat my chest that Tinubu and P2B and Sowore haven't been in any criminal case before. But Tinubu and Atiku are well-known criminals.
All right.
So let's make our judgment the right way. Thank you.
We have to stop. We have to stop it here. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, CM, for joining us. James, thank you so much for joining us. Jude, thank you. The Black Stone, thank you. Bumi, thank you. Akene, thank you. Forefathers, thank you. Man of Prestige, thank you. And Paul, thank you so much. Please, if you're watching, like the video so that more people will see it. And we hope to see you back next week. Next week, we have
Ekene, Bumi is right to some extent too, because my mother cannot sell food and make her not steal money. I steal my mama money.
I know they steal. That mean they arrange my
no,
mama money.
My mama money I steal her, but somebody can't tell my mama. My mother can't say like say the money still inside house, say never go outside. Now for all those Cotonou girls go steal her. I steal my mama money. My mama they sell food now. No record.
A big amount of
and I mean the fight.
All right. So I will see you guys next week. On Sunday, we have Dele Farotimi. Now we heard that he's been promoted. He's now spokesman for P2B. So we booked him before then. So let's see what he will say when he comes on Sunday. On behalf of everybody who is here helping out, thank you all, and I will see you next week.
Thank you.